Today on an all-new Dr. Phil. Since meeting her fiancé, she claims physical and mental abuse.
He tried pushing me into the oven twice.
But not from her fiancé.
You found a knife in his mattress.
From his 8-year-old son.
Bobby's son is pure evil.
He's got the making of a sociopath.
He's strangled 2 kittens. You have a 6-year-old daughter. He's attempted to drown her 3 times.
Right after he tried to smother her dog.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Well, I have a chore in front of me because today my guests want me to decide whether or not they should marry. Now, Krista met her fiancé Bobby 4 years ago and described him as, quote, the man of her dreams, and they moved in together right away. But only 1 month of that time has been blissful, and the other 41 months, Krista claims, have been filled with mental and physical abuse. But not from Bobby, not from the man she wants to marry. Believe it or not, she says it's his 8-year-old son who has attempted to kill her not once, but twice. Take a look.
In 2014, my fiancé Bobby and I started living together about a month after our first date.
When I met Krista, I fell in love right away. Couldn't wait to make her mine.
Bobby and his 4-year-old son moved into my house, along with my 2 kids who were already living at the home. We were an instant family. It was perfect. Bobby and I got engaged in September of 2014.
I got on my knee and asked her to marry me.
It was the same day that he was awarded full custody of his son, and he said that he wanted it to be the best day of his life. From the outside, Bobby's son appears to be an adorable, charming, sweet little boy. But he's not.
Most of my son's behavior I would try to put on the back burner, sweep under the rug, just because I didn't want to believe that there was a bigger problem.
Bobby's son is dangerous. On Christmas Day of 2017, Bobby's son tried pushing me into the oven twice. After the first time, I told him that it could burn me very badly. He looked at me and said, I know, and he smiled, and he did it again. He's actually planning on how he can hurt me or even kill me. I think Bobby's son could be the next school shooter.
Krista said things have gotten so scary that one night she woke up to find Bobby's 8-year-old son standing over her with a screwdriver. Then just 3 weeks ago, she found a knife hidden inside the boy's mattress. Now, she wants to know how she can marry the love of her life when at this point they can't even live under the same roof because it's too dangerous.
I am very worried about what my son could do to Krista and the rest of my family.
My daily life is walking on eggshells. We never know what's going to happen. I live in constant fear. This is where Bobby and I had to sleep every night for the last year so that we could tell if his son was out of his room or not. We had to put this alarm on Bobby's son's door, and if he goes to get out, the alarm will sound.
I felt for the longest time Krista was just trying to make something wrong with my son.
When Bobby's son was 4 years old, he lit the bathroom trash can on fire, which caused the bathroom to catch on fire. When Bobby's son was 5, he tried to suffocate the neighbor's 2-year-old son. When he was 7, he tried to drown my daughter.
Every time I didn't take one of my son's behaviors as serious as I should, it would start a huge argument between Krista and I.
My relationship with Bobby started to deteriorate because he didn't believe me. As you can see, he can have absolutely nothing in his room but his bed and a desk. Over here, this is one wall that has not been painted in a while, but I scrubbed this for 3 hours, and it's still just completely stained. Urine, feces, snot, blood, his drawings all over it. This closet, he has completely ripped off all of the wallpaper that was in here.
While my son and I were living at my friend's house, my son was mean to his animals, and he also stole money from me. I asked him, he denied, and thought it was funny.
Bobby called me and said, I believe you. He said, I get it now.
I took my son to the emergency room to have an emergency psych evaluation. While my son was in the hospital, Krista found a knife stashed into his mattress.
And this is where I found the knife. He has cut a hole inside of it, and it was shoved down the side.
We decided I can't bring him back into the house.
I don't know what to do. Bobby's son is putting a huge strain on all of our lives. I love Bobby, and he's the man that I want for my children. But everyone in my life is telling me to run as fast as I can.
Okay, guys, it's good to meet you. You're in a pickle here. First, let's talk about just the two of you. You two are very much in love, right?
Absolutely.
Very much so.
You want to have a relationship.
Absolutely.
But this has strained your relationship, correct?
Yes.
It continues to strain our relationship.
And primarily, this got into real trouble because you eventually said, you got to go.
Yes, for the safety of the other children and
Yeah,
myself.
you just said you're going to have to leave.
Yes.
You thought she was exaggerating.
Yes.
You thought what? What did you think when she would tell you, this child is a terror, this child is dangerous?
I thought that she would take something simple as bad behavior or not listening or being a little too wild and make it, just blow it up to bigger proportions than it needed to be.
And what would be your motive for that?
I didn't want to believe that, my son there was a bigger problem. I just wanted, my rationalization was just, he's a boy and you guys aren't getting along.
These are the things that she was reporting to you. Just not everything, but just some of them. And I'm not going to go through all of these, but he was hitting you in the head with gloves that were filled with bolts and screws.
Yes.
Right? He threw a rock at your head.
Yes.
Woke up standing over you with a screwdriver.
Yes.
That's kind of disheartening, right? You wake up and there's somebody standing there staring at you.
Absolutely terrifying.
He wrung out urine-filled pull-ups on your face.
Yes.
Now, you have a 6-year-old daughter. He's attempted to drown her 3 times. She's older now, but at the time.
Yes.
Attempted to drown her 3 times. How?
We were at the beach. We went away for 2 nights to go camping. It's the only thing we got to do. And both times his son had to be physically pulled off of my daughter. People were yelling for him to stop and he would not stop.
Okay, were you there at this point?
I was there, I didn't see it.
But you believe it now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, also, there's a neighbor with a 2-year-old.
Yes.
And,
She used to babysit for us as well, too.
right. And he attempted to smother this child.
Right after he tried to smother her dog as well.
Tried to smother the dog, then tried to smother the 2-year-old.
Yes.
And who found that? Who stopped that?
My 6-year-old daughter stopped it.
Okay.
He said he couldn't breathe, and then the child's mother ran into the living room.
Okay. Now, he's also punched and kicked the dogs and strangled 2 kittens, and he broke one of their legs?
Yes.
Okay. You thought he was just trying to cuddle with a kitten.
Yes.
Now you understand that it was something else.
I see past it now and see
Yeah.
it for what it was.
And so you eventually left the home and put the child in a hospital for 2 weeks, right?
Yes.
Okay, now at that point you were like, they wanted you to come get the child, and your feelings were, we don't think he's ready to be picked up.
Yes.
Because in the meantime, we had found the knife in the mattress.
Yeah, you find a weapon in the mattress. Now, he had cut a hole in the mattress and slid it in there, right?
Yes.
So it was kind of like a pocket for the knife?
Along with a bunch of candy wrappers as well.
Okay. Now, so you go to, they say come pick him up, and you go, we don't see the change that we brought him here for.
I felt like that was unacceptable
Right.
for them to say that.
So you were in a catch-22 here because they tell you what?
That if I don't go pick him up, that they are going to call Child Protection Services on me and file abandonment charges.
Because not picking him up is tantamount to abandonment.
Yes.
But if you do pick him up and take him home where the other 2 kids are, then what?
We can also be in trouble for putting the other kids in danger.
Right. So if you don't pick him up, you're guilty of abandonment. If you do pick him up and take him home, you're guilty of negligence because you're putting the other 2 children in harm's way.
Yep.
So you moved into a motel.
Yes.
Well, when we come back, Krista's mother says she refuses to step foot into Krista's home, and her grandmother has stopped speaking to Krista. Why? Well, we're going to meet them next and find out.
The situation right now is my son, and I'm in a hotel room 24/7, so he won't be able to hurt anyone. In the hotel room, there's nothing in there that he could use as a weapon. The only thing I have in the hotel room is some plastic silverware. In order for me to go to the bathroom, my son has to be right there with me. This is very hard for me to get a sound night's sleep knowing that something could happen. I am afraid of my son possibly hurting me. I think about it all the time. It destroys me, knowing that my son scares me.
Well, 3 weeks ago, Krista says she had to kick her fiance, Bobby, and his 8-year-old son, Randall, out of the house. She says the little boy has tried to kill her twice, has tried to drown her 7-year-old daughter 3 times. Now, Krista's mother, Connie, and her grandmother, Rosalind, said marriage is just not an option for Krista and Bobby if Randall is part of the deal. Take a look.
I want my daughter to run from Bobby and his son. I make her promise me that my 2 grandchildren will never be alone in the house with Bobby's son. I'm terrified for their safety.
Bobby's son is pure evil. I fear for them all.
Krista keeps giving Bobby chance after chance. Bobby's a good guy. He just got dealt a bad hand by God.
Bobby and his son and her 2 kids came to my house. Bobby's son said he put something in the light socket and started sparks. I said, you can't do that. I said, you could have started a fire. He looked at me and asked me why. How come? Over and over again.
My granddaughter, she told me at school he bullies the other kids, he steals, he breaks all her toys. She also told me that he put a pillow over the neighbor's 2-year-old baby. That's when the red flags kicked in for me. In my mind, it only takes 1 minute to hurt somebody. I feel for Bobby, I really do. Krista and my grandchildren have already invested 4 years of emotions into this, but it's time. You can't fix this child. He has the makings of a sociopath.
Okay, thank both of you for joining us here. You've been listening to everything so far, right?
Yes.
You two object to this union in no way because of Bobby.
No, I have nothing against Bobby. He's a great guy. It's the situation.
Mm-hmm. And which one of you said, you hate to say it, but this child is pure evil?
I did. And I said that he's got the making of a sociopath. And
You don't even talk to your granddaughter now.
That's correct.
Why?
Because she didn't tell me that she went back with Bobby, because Bobby and his son are a package deal. And she wouldn't tell me. I found out, and I was done. Done.
I think there clearly is danger here, but I don't think this child is pure evil. I don't think children are evil, and I don't think this child is even close to evil. I really don't. I don't think your child is evil. I think this child is disturbed. I think this child needs some help. I think we know some things to really do to help this. But I think you have a very... And I understand why you say that. I know why you say that, and I know this just... I know you don't really mean that you think he's Damien, the seed of Satan.
No. He just needs help.
I know what you mean, but I just know I'm here to look for solutions.
Good.
Okay? I'm a dad. You're a dad. I'm just telling you. I don't give up on this child. We got to figure some things out, and I think I've got some ideas here, and I've got some reinforcements coming as well. So we're going to try to work something out here. I'm also a pragmatist, and right now, this child is a danger to himself and to others, and that cannot be ignored.
Right.
Right. I don't want my grandchildren in the house at the same time as him until he gets treatment that he can cohabitate with them.
Yeah, and listen, you guys are not just being judgmental and wicked here. I mean, let's take a look at what he's done to the house here. He did set a fire in the bathroom, hole in the wall. You can see his mattress here. You found cigarettes and food wrapper. He's just torn his closet apart, right? Just pulled all the wallpaper off the wall, poured the carpet off the floor. And when he pulls things off the wall, whether it's glue or paint that's been around, either plaster paint or whatever, he eats that.
Yes.
Which can be very toxic neurologically. You found nails in his room. You found a knife in his mattress. So, I mean, he's very destructive to the house. He also hoards food.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He eats massive amounts of food.
Yes, until he vomits, and then
He'll eat himself sick.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he also then hoards the food, and you find that.
Yes, he was
In
in
the
a
past.
playpen for basically a year and a half of his life, covered in scabies, with 4 other children in the room.
I would get him a couple days out of the week, and it would be a problem, and it was just progressively. That's why I had decided to get custody of him, because every time I did get him, it was something else.
When you got full custody, you thought, well, this kid's just kind of hyperactive here. I've just got to...
I didn't think anything of anything at that time.
And now you think you have a child that has reactive attachment disorder.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we're going to talk about that. When we come back, Bobby and Krista say they have tried everything to fix Randall. But have they really? Or have they just tried everything they know? We'll talk about that next.
Bobby's son can harm anybody.
My favorite kind of food is cotton candy because it's really good and it can melt in your mouth.
My son's a great person, full of energy. He's my little man.
I like playing with cars because they're cool.
To outsiders, he looks like a perfect little 8-year-old child. But Bobby's son lies. about everything. I would insist that he would wear a sweater to school. His teacher would say, "It's cold out today. Why don't you have a sweater?" And he would say, "My mom didn't send me one because she's mean to me. I fear him."
Krista says her fiance's 8-year-old son Randall appears to be cute and charming, but in fact is so dangerous, she thinks that he will actually try to kill her and has on numerous occasions. Now, her mother Connie and grandmother Rosalind have been begging Krista not to marry Bobby anytime soon. In fact, you've offered her money to leave,
That's correct.
right? How much?
Yes. 2 months' rent.
2 months' rent. Well, everybody has a price. So you didn't take the offer.
No,
But this child has had an effect on you.
absolutely.
Walking on eggshells, constant fear, nurturing the enemy, prisoner in your own home, not 1 second of peace, mentally and physically abused, mocked, laughed at, horrible person, feel crazy, friends disappear, family, anxiety attacks, ulcer, PTSD, false allegations of abuse and neglect, isolation, no job. You've had to quit your job to watch your children.
Yes.
You've had to stop working because you have to watch your son.
Yes.
Describe this young man when he is not being destructive, aggressive, and problematic.
He would be nicer to a stranger and show more affection to them than he would one of us.
But like what? What will he do with a stranger? You say that he'll hug a stranger
Oh,
and be...
absolutely. You could walk up to him on the street and say, "Come with me," and he'd be, "Okay, I want to go live with you." Like he never met that person before. And hug them, love them, tell them how beautiful they are, compliment everything that they're wearing.
He did that to me the first time I met him.
Uh-huh. And you see that clearly as manipulation, right?
Absolutely.
But what do you think about the fact that he has that within his repertoire?
It's scary.
But he can do it, right?
Like he's 2 different people.
But one of them is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish we could have him all the
Yeah,
time,
all
and then
the
we
time.
wouldn't be here.
He'd be great.
But I wish that one was genuine,
Sincere.
and real. Yes.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But it's kind of like the kid who says, "I'm only making these grades to keep my parents off my back." Well, make them for 12 years and we're fine.
Right.
Keep me off your back through senior year, manipulate me, go ahead. He's able to do it. That should give you some, even though you think it's manipulative, it should give you some encouragement that he does have the ability. And how does that square with reactive attachment disorder?
Well, that's part of it.
I'm not sure.
My understanding.
No, it's not even close.
No?
The superficial charming.
Now listen, this kid is aggressive and manipulative. There's something going on way different than reactive attachment disorder.
So then what is
So what could it be then? Because that's what we've been told. And
Well, we're going to dig into that.
okay,
Because if you're looking at the wrong thing
then we're getting the wrong
and you're
answers.
treating the wrong thing, then that means you're not treating the right thing. And that's a big problem. Coming up, Krista's 15-year-old son says he too is scared of Randall. This is a 15-year-old boy, and he knows what his mom should do about Bobby and Randall, and he's going to tell us what he thinks next.
February of 2017, I started throwing up blood. So I immediately went to the hospital, and Bobby's son was laughing the whole time. I had multiple ulcers, and one had gotten so large that it ruptured and it ripped my stomach lining open. My doctor told me that this all stemmed from stress. In September, I found a lighter inside of Bobby's son's room, and the lighter triggered my PTSD because Bobby's son had previously started a fire. I had a panic attack. I immediately envisioned my house burning down with my children in it.
Well, ulcers, panic attacks, PTSD, how much more can Krista take of Bobby's 8-year-old son, Randall? Now, just 3 weeks ago, Krista had to ask Bobby and Randall to leave the house after she discovered a knife hidden in Randall's mattress, as she is worried for the safety of her 2 children. Now, Krista's 15-year-old son says life has been very difficult these past 4 years. Take a look.
I am scared of Bobby's son. I lock my door every night because I'm scared of the possibility of Bobby's son coming in my room and hurting me. I am afraid to have him live with us because my sister could get hurt, animals, my mom, our house could potentially be destroyed. I've seen Bobby's son be very violent and destructive. He's abused our animals, hurt my sister, caught our bathroom on fire. If Bobby's son didn't have these problems, we'd have a good life. I miss Bobby around. Bobby's a good guy. Might sound harsh, but if Bobby could live here without his son, it would be a lot better. The whole family would have a lot less stress. I don't ever want Bobby's son to move in.
Really, the feeling is that their childhood for these last 4 years has just been ruined. The memories of being stuck, afraid, miserable, having to live with locks on their bedroom doors, no toys, they get destroyed, just monitors, and that's no way to live, where you feel like you're in zones and open doors, alarms go off. Miss family outings, been embarrassed in public. And this is an attention black hole. This young man is an attention black hole, and so the other children don't get attention because this requires so much parental energy, right?
Yeah. Yes.
You know, if you come up to an intersection and you make a wrong turn for 5 miles, that's a 20-mile mistake. And people don't realize that. If I can have a whiteboard, I want to explain what I'm talking about. Think about it. You come up to an intersection, and where you want to go is really here. But instead, you come up here and you go 5 miles this direction. Okay, so you go 5 miles this direction, so that's 5 miles the wrong way. And then that's 5 miles back this way to get back where you started. That's 10 miles. Okay, so you could have been going this way for 5 miles while you were going there, and then another 5 miles while you were getting back to this. So you've actually made a 20-mile mistake here. And if you're considering him in one pigeonhole and not focusing on other things, then that's a problem. And what I'm concerned about, we've got dad plus child over here, and that's one dynamic. And then all of a sudden, we add stepmom over here, and then we add sibling, then we add sibling over here, and things come off the rails. Now, are these all triggers that exacerbate this boy's issues? And I don't think there's any question that it has. I mean, do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Whatever's going on, these seem to be triggers that have made this worse. Because if it's just dad and child, you have a different dynamic than when you add these competitors for dad's attention. Coming up, Krista and Bobby have taken Randall to several doctors, and they have given him several different diagnoses. We're going to talk about those diagnoses, and I'm going to introduce someone that I think has some very insightful thoughts on this whole thing. We'll be right back.
Bobby's son were to hurt one of my grandchildren, I don't know that I would ever say to Krista, I told you so. I would certainly be thinking it.
I would still want to help Bobby's son because I know he's sick and I know he's not capable of deciding what's right and what's wrong.
If Bobby's son hurt one of my family, I have no idea what I would do. None.
I wouldn't put Krista and the rest of the family in that situation to give my son a chance to hurt them. I've thought of maybe he going too far, and I see me dying.
Well, Bobby says he's terrified his son Randall could kill him before he kills Krista. He says he's not sure what to do next because he knows you just can't live in a hotel room forever. Now, joining us is Dr. Charles Sophie. Now, Dr. Sophie is on the Dr. Phil Advisory Board. He's board certified in 3 clinical specialties: adult psychiatry and child and adolescent psychiatry and family practice, as well as being the medical director for the Department of Child and Family Services here in Los Angeles, which, by the way, is the largest agency in the country. Dr. Sophie, we've been talking about this case, and you and I have been studying this in depth and at length and have talked about it numerous times. What I've said to this couple is I believe there's more going on here than reactive attachment disorder, and in fact, that may not be what's going on at all, but if it is, there's certainly more going on than that. What do you think?
Absolutely, I fully agree. We've discussed it a lot. There's a lot of insults that this child has had, from genetic insults to environmental insults. We don't know what kind of bonding happened, didn't happen during that initial time. 0 to 9 months is a critical time. And remember, our brains are growing through all of this, and so his brain is reacting to the deprivation, to the screaming, to the lack of food, to the scabies, to being left there. All that kind of stuff impacts the way that your brain grows. So if your brain isn't going to grow and map the way it needs to, and your neurons don't hook up the way they need to, then your brain doesn't work the way it should, and then you don't react to situations outside the way that you would. And that's why we see him so extreme.
And that's both psychological and neurological, right?
Correct.
Because there are certain developmental benchmarks a child is supposed to hit. And if a child is not touched, not held, not nurtured at certain points along the way, then they fail to develop certain abilities and certain relationships. Dr. Sophie, can you show, you brought some illustrations to show just that. Can we explain what we have here?
On the left-hand side, we have a normal brain of a child. It's an MRI. And we see that the structures are well nourished. They're fed with the blood that they need. Then they grow. It's a plant that waters well. On this side, we see extreme neglect. This is the brain of a child who's been neglected, not fed, not hugged, not told they love, they don't hear positive sounds. There's all that kind of stuff. And these are the effects that it has on the blood supply to your brain, which then doesn't grow.
Okay, now, and I don't want everybody's eyes to gloss over with a bunch of detail you don't need to know. But what we're talking about here in these dark areas, these are areas that should be nourished and should be lit up. I'm suggesting that if we looked at your son's brain, it would likely look much more like this than it does like this. And so if that happens, that means he's looking at the world through a filter that causes him to see something very different than a child his age that has not been through what he has been through looks at. Now, what happens when you start to nurture this child? What happens to their brain when they start to accumulate touch and care and attention and love?
You will see that the blood supply starts to fill in the brain, and the brain starts to grow, and it's like a plant that hasn't been watered but is wilting, and now all of a sudden it's starting to stand up and it's starting to grow. Yes.
So yeah, that's an accumulation
of
hugs.
Hug. That's a hug.
Then another one.
That's a, I love you today.
Yeah.
Then that's a, I feed you on time every day.
Yeah. Then you just keep going, and when you start adding, you can predict your future. You get food every day. You get love every day. You can predict the outcome of your environment.
Right.
Then it begins, the brain starts to respond.
Right. And then you get the part of your brain that controls your emotional responses to the world fed, grown, and it gets as close as it can to normal, and then you get normal response.
Is it not true that this young man did have a head trauma early in his life? Did a television fall on him and hit him in the head at what age?
He was about 1. He pulled the wires in the front that were hooked up to a game system, and it fell down on him.
Do we know if he has a seizure disorder? We don't know. Right. Do we know if there's anything growing that shouldn't be growing in his head? We don't know. Does he have exposure from the lead that he's eaten that is deposited in his brain? We don't know. There's lots of we don't knows.
You've got neurological components here that I would predict are way out of balance here. And then you've got psychological experiences that the child has experienced. And, you know, there are many in the profession that believe that core personality traits are formed by age 4 or 5. Now, there are also those that say it goes on until they're 30, but there are certainly those that will argue strongly that core attributes are formed very early in life. These are critical years that this child has been through some very impactful experiences that have to be unraveled. And you guys have certainly not been negligent in trying to get him help. According to you guys, you've been to 4 therapists, psychiatrists, ER visits, hospitalizations on 2 occasions. You called crisis hotlines, had in-home visits. He's been removed from school. You put on these door alarms, locks. You've tried to contain the situation. You've changed your lock to the point of sleeping 6 feet away from him so you can try to coexist with him. Checked on him hourly. You've tried to keep food, animals, electronics, sharp objects away to protect him and others. You supervise him very closely. You've tried to regulate his diet and get him involved with sports. You've used token programs. You've tried to do a lot of things, right?
Yes.
Tried everything.
So it's not that you've been just like, wow, he's out of control.
Right.
Right.
See, his goal was to eliminate you and those 2 children.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And where is he right now?
Away from them.
Away from us.
Right.
He's in one room with his father.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
That was his goal from the beginning. When we come back, should Krista end this relationship with Bobby? I mean, what does she do? She's in love with this man. She has children that could be in harm's way. Is there a clear answer here? I think there is, and I'm going to be very clear about what I think when I come back. You have a question about you're torn, right? You feel in the middle. I have to tell you, in my opinion, there is no torn. You have an undivided loyalty to your two children. There's no question about it. You have an undivided loyalty to those two children. You had them 15 years, 7 years, which is 11 and 3 years before you ever met this child and his father, before you ever became an item. Your loyalty is to them. Your job is to protect them 100%. That isn't even a close call. In fact, if you ignore that and you put them back in this situation, you're guilty of negligence, because it is negligent to fail to keep your children out of harm's way, and you know it's harm's way. Now, does that mean you need to end this relationship with him? No, that's not what I'm saying. But this situation needs to get resolved before you get under one roof together. And Dr. Sophie has agreed to meet with you, help guide you through finding exactly the resources you need at home so you can get this done immediately, so we can get a treatment protocol and start marching through that. And we will help you with the therapist. We will help you with the things that you need to do to execute whatever plan comes into be once we find out what's going on. But we have to find that out before we do anything else. And until that time, absolutely unequivocally, you cannot be under the same roof together.
Absolutely not.
Do you all agree with that?
Yes.
But you need to find out what's going on with his brain, so we know that what we're doing is attending to the core elements that you have to work with. And the two things we're looking for is a brain map and screening for some heavy metals. Those two things will unlock a whole lot of information downstream, correct?
Absolutely.
So we're going to set that up for you and make that happen.
Thank you.
Fair enough? Okay. All right. I want to thank all of my guests today for sharing their story, and a special thanks to Dr. Charles Sophie. For more information about today's show, log on to drphil.com. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.
Today on Dr. Phil.
She married a child molester.
You have 3 daughters. They were getting molested 5, 6 times a day.
He held knives up to their throats.
A story of abuse.
He told me if I don't do what he says, he'll kill my mom.
And you were how old?
Just turned 5.
Innocence robbed.
He said, I was wishing on a star to have a little girl of my own. God made you just for me.
Before we start today's show, I have to warn you that today we are dealing with very graphic and sexually explicit content. We are not doing it in a sensationalistic way, but a very realistic way. This is not a show for children, but it is a show about your children and how you can protect them. Every day we see shocking stories of innocent children being abused and victimized. Today we are going to tell you how to know if your child is at risk and how to do everything you can to make sure that they are safe. Now, I want you to imagine that one of those children in the headlines you just saw was yours. And now assume that they were being abused by your spouse. In this case, their own father in your own home. It's unthinkable, right? Well, not for the family that we're talking to today, because that's exactly what happened to them. Take a look.
My daughter came to me and told me she had something to tell me. We sat down on the bed and she just came out and said, Daddy's been raping us. And I just panicked and just started freaking out and screaming and crying. I took each of my 2 other children in separate rooms and questioned them. I asked my middle one first if Daddy had been doing anything bad to you or touching you. She just started crying and shook her head yes, and I knew it happened to her too. So I went to my littlest daughter and asked her the same question. And as soon as I asked her, she just stuck her finger up like this and said, yeah. And then I had asked her, well, what did he do with that? And she had pointed to her butt. My whole world ended that day. I couldn't believe it. I was in shock. My husband raped all 3 of my children.
I remember the first time he actually raped me. We were in the garage. He bent me over a couch and he put a blanket over my head, and I had to chew on the pillow because I was trying to scream, but it was the worst thing ever.
He raped him in every sexual way you could even possibly think of. Every nasty thing. He's videotaped them, he's photographed them, he's held knives up to their throats, punched them in the head while raping them, and gagged them and choked them.
It got worse as I got older. He would rape me like 3 to 4 times a night, and sometimes then he would let me go back to sleep, and then in the morning again he would do it one last time.
The abuse was happening for 8.5 years. I'd be in the shower and he would be downstairs raping the kids.
I was scared to tell my mom because Charles threatened to kill my mom and my sisters and me. And I was afraid if I told that people would come and kill us.
I asked them several times, how come you didn't tell me sooner? And they said because they didn't want their mommy to die.
Patty, I'm glad to meet you, but I'm terribly sorry for the circumstance. Now, at the time this started, your oldest daughter was how old?
She had just turned 5 years old when he started touching her.
Now, this was 2 weeks after y'all got married.
Yes, it was 2 weeks. Soon as we got married, 2 weeks later.
So this goes on for 8.5 years.
Yes.
And during that time, and you have 3 daughters.
Yes.
You had no signs of abuse, no warning signs, no tip-off, no clues that these rapes, this molestation was happening.
No, never in a million years would I have ever guessed this man would ever rape anybody, not even harm a fly.
How was he able to do this? Because Alexis says that there were times that he would rape her 4 and 5 times a day.
Right.
Your middle child, he was also raping her. And so these events were happening sometimes 6, 7 times a day. How did you not know?
Every time I took a shower, he told my oldest daughter Alexis that he was drugging me at nighttime, and he would do it while I was asleep.
Was he drugging you?
I have no idea.
Well, how would he do that?
There was times where I'd tell him I've had a headache, and he'd give me pills. I don't know if he was putting it in food or what. And she didn't tell me this until after it all came out.
That's what I mean. We know a lot now that we didn't know then.
Right.
But in looking back, isn't it true that before you got married, he told you that he had molested another child?
Yes, when he was really little. But he swore to me that he would never touch our children, and it was just a curiosity thing.
Did that raise any fears, set off any alarms in you that you're marrying a man that had molested a young girl and you had a young girl?
Absolutely. I was terrified. I mean, I questioned him. I left instantly. I was in so much shock.
In looking back, were there things that you missed? Because you said, I mean, if you've got little girls that are so young and so vulnerable, and we now know that they were getting raped and molested 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day, was there anything that in retrospect you now say, wow, I missed that?
I didn't see any sign. There was absolutely no bruises on my children. I saw no blood from anything. I saw no marks. I didn't see them cry.
I do recognize that you're never going to get past this, and I don't think you're even almost past it based on what I know about you. unless and until you come to full grips with what you think about what you did or didn't do, and your daughters think about what they did or didn't do. I know there's a process that has to happen here, so I'm asking the questions that I'll bet you've asked yourself 100 times.
Yes.
All right, well, we're going to take a break. Patty's oldest daughter endured her father's horrific abuse the longest. We're going to meet her when we come back.
On Father's Day, he raped one of my babies. He had raped him on Christmas Eve, on special days where the kids should be happy and excited, and they had to be raped on those days.
Well, that was Patty talking about her daughters being abused, in fact, raped, right under her nose in what was supposed to be, of course, the safety of their own home. Now, Alexis is with us now. She is the oldest of Patty's 3 daughters. Now, those of you at home, I ask you to bear with us because we're not going to show Alexis' face. We're not going to use her real name because as a minor, we really want to protect her identity because, as you know, people can be judgmental, they can be cruel. We're doing this even though she and her mother say that they are tired of hiding in shame, as though they have done something wrong, because that certainly is not the case. Tell me why you wanted to be here and why you want to talk about this.
I want to get this out, and I want everyone to know what he has done. I want people to be aware that it could be anybody. It could be your dad. It could be anybody.
And this happened to you for more than an 8-year period. Tell me how this started. Tell me about the first time this happened.
The first time it happened, he woke me up at, I guess, 3 or 4 in the morning and took me out to my mom's car. And he told me some things are going to happen, then I'm not going to like them, but I have to do it. And if I don't do what he says, then he'll kill my mom.
And you were how old at the time?
Just turned 5.
Just turned 5.
I started crying, and because I didn't want my mom hurt, and I loved her, and I just said, okay.
And he took pictures of you on this day, this first time.
Yeah, he brought me back to the apartment and started undressing me and taking pictures with no clothes on.
And when this was happening, you were where?
I was asleep in bed, upstairs. Had no idea that this was going on, no clue.
The second time this happened, you really resisted. You didn't want to do this. What did he tell you?
He said, I don't want to do this, but I have to do this.
You said when you were 8, you had a school uniform and he made you put it on?
Mm-hmm. He got my school uniform and made me put it on so that he could rape me in it.
And you say you've been raped in every room of the house? The bedrooms, kitchens, living rooms, cars, garages, backyard, when you were camping, when you were on vacation?
Mm-hmm.
And did you ever wonder, did you ever hope, did you ever pray that your mother would walk in? Or were you glad that she didn't?
A little of both. I hoped that she wouldn't find out, because if she did, then he might have killed her. And then I hoped that she would find out so that it would be over with.
But as you got a little older, you did try to physically fight him off at times. What happened then?
When we're downstairs and he was trying to rape me, I would fight him off, and he would punch me in the head or shoved me into the couch.
How do you feel about this as you hear it?
It's horrifying. I mean, I feel like dying every time I hear this.
Do you remember that picture?
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel when that picture was being taken?
It was near Christmas time, and I was happy. I didn't, because when he wasn't raping me, I just pretended it didn't happen, and I just tried to be happy.
All right, well, we're going to take a break, and you're going to find out what happened to this monster when we come back.
Charles told me about a club that he was in, a sex club, where he would go to other people's houses and rape their children. Charles showed me pictures of other children. I remember one where he was raping her from behind, and her head turned over, and I saw her face. It made me fearful because the club was real. It really scared me.
Well, that was Alexis talking about what her father would say to her while he raped her from the age of 5 until she was 13. Now, this sex club that he was talking about, he told you what? That he was in a club that was what?
He told me he was in a club that it was people that went to other people's house to rape their children, and the parents just allowed it.
And you believe that on occasion he did bring other people into the house that raped you?
At least 3 times, he would put a blanket over my head and say, "Someone from the club is here." And I could tell that it was somebody different by their hands. Their hands were very different. I could tell they were soft, and his actions, what he was doing, was very different.
And because of legal requirements, we can't be very specific about this, but the truth is you believe that you may know who that person was.
Yes.
Tell me about what he said about wishing on a star.
I asked him one day, and I just wanted to know why he was doing this. And he gave me these 2 answers, and he said, "I was wishing on a shooting star to have a little girl of my own to rape, and when I married your mom is when I got you, and God made you just for me."
What did you think when he told you that?
I was really shocked, and I walked away from him because it made me so upset that he would even say that I was just made for him.
What do you think about that?
It horrifies me. It makes me feel horrible. I'm sorry she had to go through that, all of that. That's just disgusting.
Have you apologized to her for not protecting her?
Yeah, I just don't know how. I couldn't have seen it, and I wish I could have been there to protect you guys. And I could have stopped it and seen it or something, but I couldn't. I didn't know what was happening. I'm so sorry that happened to you.
You don't need to be sorry.
You found the courage to protect your little sister, though, didn't you?
My middle sister came downstairs from whatever he was doing to her, and she came down crying, and I said, "I promise it's gonna stop." And I said, I'm gonna make this better. Finally, I just went upstairs and I said, Mom, I need to tell you something. And then I told her.
This was the day after Father's Day.
The day after Father's Day.
And you never saw him again except in court.
Mm-hmm.
But you did write him a letter. Take a look at this.
You stole my childhood, my sense of security, my peace of mind, but from my personal body, you stole something more precious and more valuable than gold. You stole my virginity. I feel as if I am no good for a man. Who would want a used girl? Who wants someone that has been raped? You put a pillow over my face, and I laid on my back over the couch's armrest, and I screamed into the pillow, my tears soaking it. You didn't stop. As I grabbed your arm and pleaded with you to stop, it hurt too much. Did it give you pleasure to see me wriggle and writhe in pain? I want to watch while you get raped in your cell. Of course I would want to kill you, but I'd have to draw it out to savor each moment longer that you had to live in pain. Your death would be slow with no mercy. I will shave your hair. I will rip your teeth out one by one. You may scream as I'm doing this, but I will show you the kindness that you have shown me. You told me this was normal, and it was okay, and I believed you. I stupidly believed every lie you fed to me. I am ashamed. I thought that the rapes were okay. I felt stupid for trusting you. Now I ruined my sister's lives for not telling sooner. I hate myself for not being smart enough to realize your lies. I don't feel like I deserve to be a big sister to them because I failed them, and it kills me. I feel worthless and scummy. I hate you. From the child who received no mercy from you.
You do have a lot of anger about this.
I have a lot of anger, and I wish I could show him. I wish I could show him how angry I am.
Well, let's take a break, and then we're going to talk about the aftermath of all of this. We'll be right back.
This has changed our lives tremendously. The kids all have to sleep in the same room with me. They can't go anywhere without me. They are scared of men.
What Charles has done to me has made me a very angry person. I have nightmares nearly every night of Charles coming back out of prison.
I am terrified that my kids won't get over this.
Well, today we are talking about a cautionary tale. The truth is that 1 in 4 women are sexually molested at some point in their life, 1 in 6 boys. So this isn't an isolated incident. Now, Patty, you guys have reacted to this almost as though you've done something wrong. Tell me what has made you take that particular tact?
Well, in the house that we lived at, my car window, someone broke my car window out. Someone wrote on my garage door, a pedophile lives here. People stare us down. We were like prisoners in our own home.
I mean, that's just somebody being stupid. And in fact, a pedophile didn't live there because he has 3 life sentences, correct?
Right.
And these are consecutive.
Mm-hmm.
So he's never taken another free breath, right?
No.
I mean, he should be gone forever. That gives you some comfort, right? The stress has had a huge impact on you, right?
Yes.
You say, you know, your hair's falling out, you don't sleep well. I mean, just every sign
Yes.
that you could imagine. And you're having nightmares on a regular basis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Has this affected you in the way you feel about yourself? Be honest. It's all right.
Yeah. I feel that people always judge me and my mom and my sisters because we always look weird. We always stay together. We don't go anywhere, and I think people think that's weird of us.
Do you know what PTSD is?
Yes.
It is something that I think is very prevalent with both of you, and it is disrupting y'all's life. You have basically withdrawn in many respects from society, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't make new friends.
No, it's hard because it's uncomfortable.
We've got to take a break, but when we come back, I'm going to add someone to this conversation, a victim, much like Alexis has been, enduring a long period of sexual abuse. She's a little older than you. She wants to talk to you a little bit about what her experiences have been. We'll be right back.
Charles took pictures and videos while he was raping us. He made me play dress up. He would pick certain outfits for me, like skirts or a certain pair of panties. He would also decide what I would wear for the day.
Well, that was Alexis describing her father's desire for her to dress up before he did the unthinkable. Now, we always talk about stranger danger, but the truth is that 90% of those that are sexually molested are molested by someone they know. Not a stranger, but someone they know. 90%. 35% of the time, it's by a family member. The predators are in our midst. Now, my next guest can relate to what Alexis endured at the hands of a family member. She, too, was victimized for years. Now she's sick of hiding in the shadows. Take a look.
I was 7 years old when my brother began molesting me. My mom worked a lot and I was left alone with my brother to watch me. My oldest brother, Brian, took every chance that we're alone to molest me. The abuse got worse as time went on. He began waking me up in the middle of the night to touch me. After about a year, he started to rape me. It was terrible. He screamed at first and then sat there and cried for about 2 hours. He laid down next to me and tried to comfort me and say that next time it wouldn't hurt. Once he began to rape me, it was happening almost every other day. The last time he raped me, I was 11 and a half years old. I told him that I wasn't going to let it happen anymore, and that's when it stopped. When I was 13, I was going through a really dark phase. I'd written a poem to a boyfriend of mine explaining what had happened with my brother, and my mom had gone through my backpack and found the poem. My mom was sitting on the floor with a note in her hand, and she was crying. She told me that she was going to make it so that I was safe and this didn't happen anymore. She called the police and reported what had happened. My brother was convicted for lewd acts with children under 14 years old. He only did 4 months in prison. Now I'm 23 years old. Sharing my story is a vital part of my healing process. I hope I can show people that rape and molestation within the family is a reality, and I hope that I can show other girls that they can come forward and say something.
Okay, Colleen, have you met Alexis and Patty?
No, not
well,
yet.
say hello. I'm sorry that you have this common bond. Does it get better?
It does get better. The first 3 years, I think, after coming forward are the worst, but now, obviously, you guys are taking a stand, and it's awesome that you're even here. It's the first step, but just letting it go. You've lived through it for years already, and he's taken the years from you, and there's no reason to give him any more.
What's been the hardest thing for you?
Just the feeling of a broken family, a little bit of guilt for that, because family functions are never the same, and going to see family and all of that, everything's different after that. So that's hard to not be able to have normal Christmases and normal Thanksgivings and stuff like that. And my family still has contact with my brother, so trying to separate anger and understanding about that is hard for my situation, but you just have to take a step back. And once you're able to take a step away from it and breathe and not let it suffocate you for so long, it's just a relief once you can do that. And
you and your sisters all sleep with your mom, right?
Yeah.
You guys all stay together.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel safe in that way?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that will go on forever?
Yes, I feel I have this tremendous fear that we'll never get over this. I feel that they're going to sleep with me forever, that they're not going to lead a normal life, that I want them to get married and have children. I want them to go to college. I fear that this will just keep going on. I see no end to it.
Do you want there to be an end to it?
Definitely. I'm so tired of hiding. I want everyone to know, what he has done to our family, how it's affected us.
I don't want you to be a victim for the rest of your life. God knows you have been victimized, as have you and you. But you're so much more than that, right? I mean, you're a thinking, feeling, just vibrant human being. We want all of that to come out. I don't want you to miss the rest of your life. I don't want you to be sleeping with your mother the rest of your life, but I don't want you to just be reckless either. I want you to build from strength until you get to the point that you know you can self-protect and you know that you can trust again. Because how much you trust other people really has not much to do with them. How much you trust other people is a function of how much you trust yourself to be able to deal with what they might bring to you. And if you feel strong and alert and aware, then you can be more trusting, because you know if somebody comes near you and you need to put up a stop sign, you're going to put up the stop sign. And I want you to gain that strength and that confidence. And we're going to help you with all of that. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about how you can protect your children from being abused, whether it's from a family member, somebody you know, or stranger danger. We're going to talk about all that and how it impacts this case as well. We'll be right back. About sexual abuse and molestation of children. It is something so common that statistics say 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be molested in their life. Now, those are shocking statistics, but there are things that you can do to protect your children. Now, I said at the top of the show that I wanted to tell you things today that would change the way that you protect your children, that would change your ability. And I think by what we've been talking about and raising awareness, we've done an awful lot of that. Now, let's talk about who is at greater risk of being abused. First off, family structure. Children with step-parents are at an increased risk. Exactly what happened here. Families under stress and pressure are vulnerable to the savior abuser. Now, let me talk about what that means. If you are like a single mom, you're working, or mom and dad are both working, as double income family, there's no time. Somebody shows up in the neighborhood. Maybe it's a coach, maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's a kid across the street saying, hey, I'll help out. Listen, I know y'all are stressed. Let me take him to the park. Come on, we'll go to the park. Now, what does that say? It means that the nicest people in your life have to be suspect, because these are the savior molesters. They're going to come in and save you. Oh, I'm so fortunate to have him. He's so nice. Why is he so nice? I hate to make you paranoid, but you've got to be suspicious of the people that reach out to help your children. Children who have been taught blind obedience to adults and authority figures, right? What do we tell our kids? You respect your elders. You don't argue. You don't talk back. We're just setting them up. They need to understand there are times where it's okay. A line can be crossed, and it's all right to say, no, no, get away from me. So we can't just continue to raise our kids with this 1950s mentality of respect your elders. Children who are not part of an ongoing dialogue about self-protection are at risk. You need to talk to your children about self-protection. And you may be one of these helicopter moms that watches your children all the time. Trust me, you cannot be there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The best protection is self-protection. Talking to them about where the boundaries are and where the barriers are, and letting them know they will not be judged. This precious child was told if she said anything, she would be sold into the sex slavery in China, that her mother would be killed. You have to teach your children, not true, talk to me, anything you need to talk to me about, you can do it. Children in foster care, 10 times the risk level. 10 times the risk level. Children with a single parent who has a live-in significant other. You're a single mom, you got a boyfriend, he moves in, you are 20 times the risk level for your children being abused. 20 times. Females, 5 times the risk. Males under 12 comprise 26% of all victims. So if you've got a young boy and you've got somebody that's coming into your life, African Americans, 2 times the risk level, knowing that should change how you think about this. Now, if you want to know if there are molesters in your neighborhood, you can do that. We're going to do it for you here right now. We're going to pull this up. We did it for California here, and you can search by name, address, city, whatever. You think of somebody creepy in your neighborhood, look them up. Look them up. Now, we chose city. We just put in Hollywood, which is where we are now. So let's go to Hollywood. The blue marks are registered sex offenders. This is right here in Hollywood. Now, we can't do it for legal and moral reasons, and I'll explain that in a minute. But if you click on one of these blue dots, it will bring up a picture, it will bring up an address, a name, and what they were convicted of. So if you click on one of those, it'll pop up a square and it'll have their picture and all the information that you need. Now, I'm not going to do that because I don't want somebody to see this and go to that person's house and beat them up or kill them. You know, I really don't. So I'm not going to put some abuser's picture up here. You may think they deserve it, but I'm not going to do that. And this is just within a few miles of where we are right now. I just chose Hollywood because that's where we are. And a lot of times, we won't do it now, but you can scroll in. It will show where the schools are. And there are schools embedded right in the middle of all this. They tell you that they can't live so close to a school. Not true. Now, I'm going to put a link on drphil.com so you can go to that link. And it's different for each state. But you're going to be able to put in your address, click on this, and find out who your children are walking past when they go back and forth to school, the bus, or a friend's house. We'll be right back. I want to thank you for watching the show today. And I know it's not a fun topic, and I get that. As I say, these are things you don't talk about in polite society. But don't we need to talk about this? I mean, the things that we've discussed today, and we've tried to do this delicately without salaciousness or sensationalism, and we left a lot of details out of here because it's just, you get it. You get what took place here. And if you know or suspect that a child is being abused, go to drphil.com today. I'm going to have listed there all the warning signs and what the resources are. And Patty, Alexis, I'm so sorry what you guys have been through and are going through. I know it's not over, but we're going to offer you some very specialized help after the show when you go home to help walk you through this maze, as well as your 2 younger sisters. So all 4 of y'all. And Alexis, please choose a path that you deserve. You know, I've often said that every situation needs a hero. And let me tell you, girl, you are the hero in this story. And you led yourself and those 2 little girls out of a burning building here. You absolutely did. And it's that strength and courage that's going to make you a winner in this world. I mean, you are a winner as you sit here now, and as your life goes on. I want you to be happy and free. And let me tell you, you know what it looks like when somebody's being wrong and inappropriate now. You are very much able to recognize that. And I want you to learn to trust in yourself and know that you can take a step out there and then take another step out there and be happy and get married and have a bunch of kids if you want to. Whatever makes you happy. But believe that it's going to get better, okay? And Colleen, thank you for what you shared and what you said to her. Thanks for being here today. Go to drphil.com. Click on that website. See who's in your world. The predators are in our midst. Thanks for being here so long.
Tell her the truth.
She shut him out of her life.
I will never speak with my father again.
I came here to reconnect with my daughter. I'm missing your love.
Did her inheritance cause the conflict?
Was any of the money and controversy here yours?
No.
Or is it about more than money?
I don't feel like I have a father that would protect me.
What you're saying is you should have been there for me, so just say it. Or are you going to shut him out till you die because he made some bad decisions? I know things are tough out there, but we can do this. If it matters to you, that's what I want to talk about.
10 seconds to air.
Well, thank you. This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Ready, camera 5. Take track. Go, Dr.
Let's do it. Well, today we're talking about a 5-letter word that can many times come between loved ones and divide families forever. Anybody guess what I'm talking about? M-O-N-E-Y. You bet. Money. From battling over inheritance to what's fair when it comes to prenuptial agreements, we're taking on some of the biggest and most controversial money fights. Now, see these 2 empty chairs here? They represent a father and a daughter who've had their relationship ripped apart over an inheritance worth close to $1 million. Take a look.
My father gave away close to $1 million to my brother. I am left with no inheritance.
This was not the intention to take my daughter's inheritance away from her. I invested in real estate with my son. At the time, it seemed like a good idea. I didn't tell my wife and my daughter that I was spending this much money.
My father forged checks totaling $58,000 out of my mother's account, cashed out $502,000 in stocks, took a $200,000 equity line of credit out on their home without my mother's knowledge. My father stole my son's college funds, totaling $69,000. It's one thing to do something to me. It's another thing to do something to my children.
She felt that she equally deserved the amount of money that her brother got.
I want to know, how could he give all that money over all those years to my brother, and where is it now? What kind of man leaves his daughter out to dry?
I certainly wish my daughter would understand that I love her as much as her brother.
If Ed does not tell Dr. Phil the truth, I will never speak with my father again. I'm done.
Well, so it seems to be an important conversation we're getting ready to have. Kathy says her father's dishonesty has dramatically changed their relationship.
I worship the ground that he walked on. Now, the relationship between Ed and I is non-existent. I don't think he deserves to be called Dad. I refer to him as Ed. I absolutely cannot handle the lies and manipulation. When he calls and I see his phone number, I start shaking. I've changed my number a couple times and not given it to him, and I've blocked him from my email. I don't want to see a written word anymore from him because it means nothing to me. This has completely devastated and changed my life. What kind of a man does this to his daughter?
Well, Ed admits that he betrayed his daughter, and he says he's apologized for that. But Kathy has still not forgiven him.
I certainly apologize to Kathy about what I did. It's very difficult to have a relationship. There's a lack of trust. I would like her to learn how to trust me again. I miss the grandchildren. I miss my daughter. I would like to have a relationship we had before. I feel like I've failed as a father. There's certainly a hole in my life and my heart.
Okay. Tell me why you want to be here.
I want an answer from my father. Why? Why did he give everything to my brother and nothing to me? Why did he lie to me? And how could he look at me and go on camping trips, play golf, come to my house, go to Christmases, and lie to me?
Okay, and I'm going to get to you in a second and ask the same question here, but I really believe 80% of all questions are statements in disguise. And when you say, why did you do this? Why did you do that? Aren't you really saying you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done that?
Yes.
I mean, this isn't really a question. You know there's going to be some explanation, and whatever it is not going to satisfy you. Because you're not asking a question. You're saying, you did me wrong, you shouldn't have done this.
Right.
True?
True.
I'm just trying to cut to the bottom line here, because I've got one goal here, and one goal only. It doesn't have anything to do with making a television show. It doesn't have anything to do with playing lawyer or trying to get the money right, because I'm not a lawyer and I can't get the money right. The only thing I care about is this family relationship here. And I think it's terrible, the state that it's in. Ed, why did you agree to be here?
Why am I here? The reason I'm here, my daughter gave me an ultimatum that this was the only forum that she would talk to me about in. So I'm here for that reason, because I certainly desire to have a relationship with my daughter and my grandchildren.
Did you betray her?
I betrayed her because I didn't tell her the truth. That's how I betrayed her.
I've got bones to pick with both of you in this thing, actually. How did this involve you? These were things that involve business decisions you made. Then they didn't work out. We know that. And trust me, you're not the only one to make bad investments. You're not the first. You're not going to be the last. But this had to do with his relationship with his wife, who's, of course, your mother. How does that involve you? Because was any of the money and controversy here yours?
No, no. In fact, I've always stood on my own 2 feet. My father, you know that. I've always prided myself in trying not to borrow money or ask for money, and if I did, I would feel bad that I asked, and that is part of the betrayal, because I did ask to borrow some money for some legal fees. I don't feel protected by you. I don't feel protected, and that's a part of the betrayal. One time I asked to borrow money, and you said, no, you didn't have the money. And I looked back in records, and that very same month, you had given my brother $17,310. But why would you not let me borrow less than $1,000? It's not about the money. It's about protection and protecting your daughter.
Well, I do believe I did give you some money, but it was not the way I'd like to give you more money to help you out.
I was standing in the driveway. I was getting into the car. I was getting ready to drive to the airport. You said no. My mom went inside. She got a yellow checkbook, which I now understand that she had inheritance. I didn't know. I never got involved in your money. And she wrote the check for me. She signed the check. It was from her inheritance account.
All right. Well, when you say I gave your brother money, I invested money to cover the paying of taxes.
You paid his child support.
I paid for the taxes of a house is what I was paying taxes for.
You paid for his child support.
Okay, but now, wait a minute. You say it's not about the money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so all of this that you've told us, we're through talking about that then.
Okay.
Okay, right?
Sure.
I'm trying to sort this out because you say it's not about the money, and I agree it's not about the money. You did some things that you didn't like, and he didn't do some things that you felt like you needed. Moral support, emotional support. But aren't you the one that has cut him out of your life? You say you're not there for me. You say you've changed your phone number twice. You don't answer emails. You don't call him father. You call him Ed. You say you're not there for me right after you tell us on tape that you've totally walled him out of your life. Is he supposed to climb that wall?
I gave you a year to come clean and give me answers as to why, not just I did a stupid thing. The why did you do it? And no answers, and just, well, I just did a stupid thing. I don't know why. I don't know why I did it. And you're a smart man. You're a mathematician. You're a PhD. You're a smart man. So I don't know why, and it doesn't really cut it for me.
Well, I mean, originally when I made these investments, it was a time when I was trying to establish a business and help your brother out. And at the time, you were well off financially. It's not that you're disinherited, because there is an inheritance that you are slated to get, because in all this, the happenings, I did get legally separated from my wife, which was a consequence of all these actions, and there was an equal division of property, and my daughter is slated to get my wife's half of that property. And so it's not that she's disinherited, but is that she hasn't received the money that I had available to give her at the time. So that's inequitable in that sense.
Well, it is and it isn't. Look, we're going to take a break. It's been 2 years since Ed last saw his grandchildren. I hate that. They don't call him grandfather. They don't call him grandpa. They call him Ed. Lisa Bloom, our legal analyst, is here. I want her to weigh on this for everybody involved to understand. But you got to keep your eye on the relationship ball here, because we leave here today and there's still this angst between these two, then we've not made any progress. I don't want that to happen. We'll be right back. The issue of who gets what when it comes to inheritance is one of the biggest fights that can come between family members. Look, Robin and I have 2 boys, and we're no longer spring chickens, or at least I'm not. And I look at this and I think, how would I feel if I was in your shoes, Ed? I don't want this between y'all or between any parent and child. Now, Kathy says her father spent her intended inheritance that was worth close to $1 million. Lisa, would you join me down here? Lisa is a top legal analyst. She's our legal analyst here at the Dr. Phil Show. I want to be clear so everybody understands that word intended is a big word, right?
Well, that's right, because legally and morally, Kathy, what you call your inheritance is really called Ed's money. Your inheritance only comes to you, of course, once he is deceased. And so during his lifetime, he's entitled to spend his money as he sees fit. Now, I understand there's an issue between you and your wife, who you're separated from now, but that's been resolved as between you and her. And look, I'm a single mom too, and I have kids in college, and I understand the pressure of paying for college, but I don't see how you thought this was your money to begin with, how you had a sense of entitlement to the money, such a strong sense of entitlement that you would cut your dad off.
I have never had a sense of entitlement to anybody's money.
What is it that you object to here? You say that he has squandered your intended inheritance with your brother. But what you're saying is intended inheritance should be typed up Ed's money.
Well, that's right. I mean, unless you have a contract.
And it didn't work out. I suppose if you'd made a ton of money on this, we wouldn't be here.
Well, that was the objective. And
right,
so that
we wouldn't be here,
more
right?
money for everybody. But it doesn't always work out that
So,
way.
I mean, I have a little bit of a different take on this, because I know, Dr. Phil, you and Kathy both say it's not about the money, but it sounds to me like it is about the money, and you're upset that you don't have the money now for your children's education fund and your inheritance, but aren't your children your responsibility to raise and support? And, I mean, in my view of the world, if Dad helps, that's a lovely gift, but it's not his responsibility legally or morally.
Okay, let me ask you a question, point blank. There were 4 college funds. One was to my brother's son, and the other 3 were for my 3 sons. You cashed out my 3 sons' inheritance, college funds, and gave all that to my brother, and you kept my brother's son intact. Didn't you?
Well,
didn't you?
At the time, I was asked to divest those college funds for a legal reason by you, and then they were commingled with other funds.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's absolutely not true.
Here's the thing, and listen, the reason I'm focusing on this is because we've got to get past it if we're going to say, okay, where do we start from here? Now, you said that there was a dispute between Ed and his wife, your mother, and that had been resolved as to them, at which time your eyes said, that's not true.
It's not resolved yet. My father and I
read the settlement agreement.
My father and I argue that the pension has not been, the pension is still in a joint fund. Has not been distributed properly yet.
But let me ask you something, and I'm not trying to play boy lawyer here. I've got my counsel right here. But I read the documents that this has been resolved between your mother and your father.
My mother is too ill. She's too ill to handle certain situations. My father absolutely knows that. She's terminally ill and she's on oxygen 24/7. My father and I do we not argue about just about between $290 to $320
I
every single
would
month?
be happy for CPA to do that job and not take both of us out of it and have it
You wouldn't hire a lawyer. And so you're using my mom's lawyer, and my mom's not well enough, so I had to work with my mom's lawyer. So you and I were arguing all this the whole entire year.
But that's between them, and they signed the agreement.
And she had an attorney. So the attorney's looking out for her interests legally, as between her and Ed, right?
Are we arguing every single month about $300?
But that's not responsive to the question here. Listen, and this isn't a cross-examination. I'm trying to narrow the issues here. There were disputes between you and your wife. You guys resolved those things. So that's done.
But there's certain things that he's not doing that she needs to have done, and you told me you're not going to do them. You're not going to...
Okay, but now are we talking about his relationship with your mother? Are we talking about his relationship with you? Because every time I ask you a question about you, you want to talk about somebody else. This is between Ed and your mother. Now, do you care about your mother? Yes. Are you a self-appointed protector and guardian of her? I hope so. I mean, you're a daughter. You love her. I get that. I really do. But at some point, you've got to stop complaining and start asking, what do you want this man to do? Is there a formula for success for him to restore this relationship?
I'm not asking you to choose between your daughter and your son. I'm not asking for that. You have been enabling my brother his entire life.
I think you missed the part about stop complaining and start asking. What do you want him to do that he's not doing?
I want you to stop enabling my brother.
Does that mean investing with him, giving him money?
Yes. He took $16,000 in August.
That's not true. I don't know what to say about that. I'm not investing money with my son now because I don't have the money to invest. So
You told me 6 days ago he took $16,000 from your Bank of America account.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Can I ask a question? When your kids are a little older and they're adults, would they be allowed to ask you questions about how you spend your money?
Sure.
Because, maybe we just have different points of view. I could never imagine my kids sitting across a chair from me and saying, well, you spent this money on this and this. It's Ed's money. What if he had invested it and had done very well? Right? A lot of people invested in real estate and did well for many years. The problem I have, legally and morally, is where the assumption comes from that you have the right to not only ask them these questions, but cut your children off from their grandfather because you don't like the answers.
I actually, this went on since 2002, and I would go, there was several Christmases, and I would go to my brother, I'd say, wow, I'm so proud of you, you're doing great, you're doing this all on your own, and I found out my father was giving him $50,000 a year, and that feels like a choice right there. It feels like...
Okay, but listen, and I appreciate you hanging with me here. You're being patient. No, you are. I know you are, and I appreciate your being here. I do have a plan. I'm trying to get this somewhere. I said, what do you want him to do that he's not doing? You said, I want him to quit enabling my brother. Okay. What else?
I want him to stop lying. He's lying to me right now. How can I, if he's hurt me to this degree, how can I trust him with my children? He's betrayed my children.
And what else? Is that it? Stop enabling your brother and stop lying to me?
Stop lying to me.
That's a pretty short list, but there are multiple things on the list, right?
And there's a ton of things on the list.
Okay, and I want to talk about those. We'll be right back.
I want to know, how could he give all the money away and where did it go? I cannot handle this emotionally any longer. If anyone can get the truth out of Ed, it's going to be Dr. Phil.
When it comes to money, you can never put a price tag on the value of family, although some people seem to. Ed claims that his daughter, Kathy, is more concerned about her inheritance than her relationship. Now, I'm going to start asking your dad some hard questions here in just a minute, or as you call him, Ed. But you've got to own what you have to own about this. You are jealous of your brother. You are bitter about the fact that he's done things with him that you wouldn't want him to do. And you feel like that he has shown favoritism with him. You said he cashed my boy's college funds, which is still Ed's money, by the way, and not your brother's kids. That's not right. That's not fair. That's not equitable. I agree with that. But let's call it what it is. You resent that, do you not?
Am I jealous of my brother? Have I ever been jealous of my brother? Ever?
Well,
Ever?
I don't think you are.
Never.
Look,
I am not jealous of my brother.
Do you want to use the word resent?
I'm afraid. I'm actually afraid of my brother.
Well, we can play semantics all day long if you want to, but he is doing things with your brother that you believe to be at your expense.
He's doing things with my brother that are to a lot of people's expense.
Okay. You don't want to own any of this, and you can't change what you don't acknowledge here. Look, what has happened has happened. Did you make bad decisions?
I made some bad decisions. Yes.
Did you betray your wife's trust by doing things without getting her permission, her agreement to those things?
Correct.
Pardon me?
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. What do you need to hear him say that he's not saying?
How do I get over, 10 years or more, I don't know how much lying went on. I had so many conversations with you where I was like your sounding board, and I was very empathetic with you, and I would listen to you, and those are all the lies. That's all the betrayal. It's not the money. It's none of my business. The money has never been my business. However, when in 2007, I had to walk into the courtroom on my own, and you wouldn't fly up there to come with me, to be there for me.
But you're not asking a question. What you're saying is, you should have been there for me. So just say it. Don't ask the question, how do I get over it? Say, you should have been there for me, and you weren't, and that hurt me.
Why were you not there for me?
I would like to have been there at the time. I was dealing with some strong personal emotional problems that I had to deal with, and I was not able to come up at that time.
6 days ago, I told you that...
Wait a minute. Don't ask the question, get an answer, and then just move on. You're not... That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying you're not really asking questions, because you asked a question and the man gave you an answer and you didn't even acknowledge it. You just, let's talk about something else. Because I don't want to ask questions. What I want to do is just peck. He answered the question. At least respond to the man.
I guess I don't believe very much.
Okay, then say that. You're asking, how do I get past this? This is how you get past it, by me bringing you back to the issue. You won't deal with the issue. All right, next, the one thing that Kathy needs from her father that she is not getting. You do resent what has happened with your brother. You do resent that he has treated him one way and you another. That makes you hurt inside. I get that. But you'd say, oh, no, that's not true. I don't feel that way. You do feel that way.
Well, I think I was responding more to what you were saying. That's their money. It's not yours. And I acknowledge that. Of course it is.
You acknowledge it intellectually, but you don't acknowledge it emotionally. Emotionally, you feel like it's been taken from you, and it has. Mm-hmm. I mean, I believe with you that it is what that represents. Mm-hmm. That he invested is a good word. He invested with his son. And he is not invested in his daughter, not money-wise. You've been in some tough stuff where you need a dad to step up there and say, come on, let's walk up these steps to the courthouse together. Come on, girl, I got you right here.
Yes.
And that's what you needed, and that's what you didn't get. And you want to know how to heal this relationship. You never get through parenting.
No, I realize that, and it's sad. And I feel...
Well, what do you hear her saying she needs from you?
Well, she needs some love and support. And unfortunately, I'm not being able to give her that love and support because I don't have access to her.
Do you want access to her?
Yes, I do want access to her.
What role do you want to play in her life? I mean, you've apologized for the things that you acknowledge that were bad decisions. You've acknowledged that she has some key points here, but she's sitting before you now and says, you know, I need my dad.
I'd like to be able to help her emotionally. I'd like to be there for my grandchildren. If there's some way I can step into your life and repair the damage and find a way to be together, that's the reason I came to sit here. This was about the last thing I expected in my whole life to ever be doing.
I agree.
I came here to find a way to reconnect with my daughter. I wouldn't be here otherwise.
Tell her what you want.
And I would certainly like us to find a relationship like we had before, where we could be together and you could feel the support that I hope you once felt.
Do you miss her?
I certainly do miss her, and she's a darling of my heart.
What do you miss about her?
You know, fathers and little girls are real special, and
tell her what you miss about her.
Well, I just miss, you know, sitting down and talking to her.
No, tell her, tell me, tell her. Tell her what I miss about you is.
I miss going camping with you. I miss talking to you. You know, I miss talking to you about your problems. I'm missing your love and love of the grandchildren. And, you know, I certainly would like to be able to move back to where we were at one time and be able to go on with our lives. Life's short, that I know. So I miss you dearly.
If something were to happen to your dad, God forbid, and you put this DVD in your player and watched it and heard what he just said, what would you wish you had said to him?
I pray for you all the time that you can work on that you could have more of a pure heart and be honest with yourself. I don't feel you're honest with yourself to the degree that you cannot be honest with me.
That's what you would want to tell him. If you had one last chance, you'd want to criticize his ability to have personal insight. That would be your last moment in time with your dad. You just want to say, I hate that you have a lack of insight. I don't think, if my dad's been dead like 15 years, I don't think I'd want to say that.
I don't think I said I hate anything.
Obviously, the big question is, can this father and daughter heal this relationship, and are they willing to do something to move in that direction? The past is over. The future hadn't happened yet. The only time is right now. The only place is right here. Is there something that you want him to admit that he hasn't admitted?
It's just one core issue. I don't feel protected. I don't feel like I have a father that would protect me.
Well, that's sad. I mean, you have said that before to me. To be able to protect you, I'd have to, be able to be in your life. And I'm not really in your life right now.
At this point, you say life's too short. I mean, well, what are they going to do to you now? I mean,
hey, I'm on this show. There's nothing anybody's going to do to me.
And you got to give the boy credit for coming.
I'm amazed, and it meant a lot to me for you to come on the show. Absolutely, 100%.
And I know this was hard for you, but in all honesty, are you not glad that you're here talking to her?
I'm glad I'm sitting here talking to my daughter.
At this point, can you say to her, from the absolute core of your soul, that if I am in your life, I will be trustworthy and I will protect you to the best of my ability?
If I'm in your life, I will do the utmost to protect you, be there to give you support.
Can you do that a day at a time? So you know what? There have been a whole lot more good years than bad. I mean, he's made a mistake. Is this a life sentence? Or are you going to shut him out till you die because he made some bad decisions and it betrayed you, all of which he has admitted? You got to be willing to say, look, I'll do this a day at a time. I will do this a step at a time. And if you need more of these sessions, I will make the available to the two of you to have those sessions and to do that, do whatever it takes to keep that traction going. But you've got to be willing to say, this is either a life sentence and you are banished till the day you die, and I won't come to your funeral. I mean, it's a life sentence and beyond. Or you can say, I'm going to start trying to rebuild this a step at a time. If we take you from here right now, put you guys in a private room, will you sit down and have that conversation right now today? This is a choice point. No cameras.
Sure, sure.
Just the two of you.
By yourselves.
By yourselves.
Okay. I guess, yeah, okay.
Let me put it this way. Lady, what do you want? Seriously. Look, you have said, I am alone. I need my father back in my life. And we never get through parenting these kids. I don't care how old we get or how old they get. We just parent in different ways. You need that. I know you need that. And you're not wrong for needing or wanting that. He came here today, and he has said, yes, I want to sit down with you. And you go back and sit down and do that. And yeah, whatever, sure.
No, that's not what it is. I don't want to get caught in the I don't want him to lie to me anymore.
Then don't ask any questions. Just go back there and share with him where you are. Bring him up to date. Will you sit down and talk to this man?
Of course.
And not call him Ed while you're doing it. Take that chance. It's worth the chance. You're worth the chance. Your kids are worth the chance. Your future is worth the chance. I buried my dad. I'm telling you, take this chance.
There's something that I want to say.
Sure.
I have been highly disrespected since 2007 from you. I've been insulted. I've been yelled at on the phone. You've told me that I can't add and subtract. You've told me I better go get a man to add and subtract for me because I don't know how to do it. You have insulted me and sworn at me over the phone.
No, I don't swear at you.
Have you? Okay.
What's your point? He's been ugly to you on the phone and disrespected your competency, when in fact we know you're very quite competent and have demonstrated that throughout your life. Where's this going?
I guess I'll try. I'll try.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk to a woman who wants to know if she's entitled to more money than her prenup states. We're going to find out more details about that after the break. These guys are going to head off. Thanks. We've been talking about bitter family disputes that seem to be centered on money, and I really hope all of you at home listened to a lot of what I had to say and what Lisa had to say about this sense of entitlement. My next guest, Stacy, wants to know if she divorces her husband, will she be owed more than her prenup stipulates given her unique circumstances? Take a look at this tape and then we'll talk to her.
Dear Dr. Phil, I have been married to a man that is 24 years older than me for the past 7.5 years. He is a very successful businessman, so when he asked me to sign a prenup, I had no problem with it because I wasn't in it for the money, even though I do feel like I am his trophy wife. The problem is I recently found out that he has been looking at things on the computer that I am disgusted by, and he's been hiding money from me in secret accounts, and I am not in his will. I think I'm ready to divorce him, but the prenup states that I only get $20,000 a year for 5 years. I want to know if because I signed this prenup, is that all I am entitled to? Or do his lies and my giving up my career for him entitle me to more money? Sincerely, Stacy.
All right, Stacy is with us on the phone. Stacy, is this a sustainable marriage in your opinion?
No, he's not talking about any of this. He won't admit to anything that he has done. All these things I've found out, he's possibly gay. That he's not talking about. He says, I'm going to put you in the will. I'm going to show you all the financials. And it's been 2 months, and he's not owned up to that promise.
Well, we're back talking about money again, and that just seems to just be pervasive in all situations. What I'm asking you is, you had a mindset when you got married of what marriage for you was going to be.
Right.
Is that what you have?
No. I thought he was a perfect man for years. He was wonderful to me. I was totally duped because I find out all this stuff about him, and I don't know who he is. My whole idea of who this man was has been shattered. He doesn't care what happens to me at all. I mean, I said, what happens if you die tomorrow? He said, well, you'd have to sell the house and get a job.
I have often said people almost always divorce somebody different than they married. Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. And if the marriage is not right, if the marriage is not sustainable, then it doesn't matter what the financials are on getting out. You don't want to stay in a marriage that isn't a marriage. Where is she on the prenuptial?
Okay, first of all, courts love prenups because everybody likes something that makes their job easier, right? And so instead of having to wade through all of the finances and all of the marriage, the court says, great, I have a contract that two people entered into when they were in love as to how everything would be divided up, and courts generally want to uphold that. And so probably you're going to be looking at the $20,000 a year. But, and here's the but, if there was fraud in the inducement, in other words, if he lied about being heterosexual at the time that they got married and he's been gay all along, that's a big lie, and that's the kind of lie that goes to the heart of the marriage. And I think she'd have a good argument for fraud in getting the prenup undone if you can show that he knew he was gay at the time you got married. This isn't something that just happened in the last few months.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know what you're saying, and it's not that there's something wrong with being gay. There's something wrong with the misrepresentation of what you are or are not.
Right, exactly.
And that's where and so you're saying that the best approach to that would be that there was fraud in the inducement. But she has said they've been married for 8 years, and for many of those years, it was wonderful.
Right.
So it's highly unlikely that that's a sustainable...
Well, the question is, was he living a lie all of this time? I mean, these emails and the stuff that you found online, has that been going on for a long time? You just discovered it now? And, if there was financial fraud at the time of the prenup, that would be another ground. The question is, what happened at the time you got married 7 years ago?
Right.
Okay.
So that's going to be your option if you have it. So and as you say, that's probably going to be pretty hard to prove.
Yes.
But that's the way to approach this if you're going to challenge the prenup.
That's the angle I go after.
All right, Stacy, does that answer your question?
It does. I thank you very much. I'm trying to get my ducks in a row. I didn't have any money saved. I'm totally, going to have to leave my home and start all over. And it just doesn't seem fair. And I do know I signed this prenup, but I didn't know that he was this person.
And that's the key, what you didn't know. And so hopefully you'll find that something you can talk about and pursue. Stacy, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, it's interesting. These prenuptial agreements got everyone buzzing on my Twitter page. I posted this tweet just yesterday or the day before. I was working on this show. I work on these at home and work on them way in advance. And I put this up. I said, hey, ladies, how do you feel about prenups? If you married a guy with big bucks, would you sign or would you be offended at the request? And if you had money, would you ask?
How'd you get all that on your Twitter page?
Well, count it. No, that's 140 characters. Count them up.
Okay.
It comes out dead zero.
Okay.
Because I go back and make
You're
it
one
fit.
of those guys, right? Okay.
Here are some of the responses, and I have to say women were really divided. One said, I'd be upset. I believe marriage is a lifetime commitment. One said, I'm going through a divorce now, and I wish I had one. Another said, I would sign because I'm in it for love, not money. One said, he shouldn't ask me to marry him if he thinks I'm going to run off with his dough. It says, of course I would, but I would enter my own clause. If you cheat, the prenup is null and void. We'll be right back. All of my guests today, we've been talking about these things because they're so important. And let me tell you, everything comes and goes, but family is so, so very important. Sometimes you're right, but you're unhappy. I mean, you just got to decide, do I want to be right or do I want to have my family? Do I want to just choose not to react and pick a different battleground? It's worth it. Special thanks to Lisa Bloom, our legal analyst. Thanks for being here and talking about all this. We'll see you soon. So long.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, celebrity psychic James Van Praagh.
You won't believe who he made contact with.
What began as an interview.
You said that you felt the presence of a ghost here on stage 29.
It was very haunted here.
Became an encounter, and our cameras were rolling the entire time.
Let's go this way.
Listen, I'm a skeptic, but what happened here even had me surprised.
Look, right there.
Coming up. Let's do it. I want you to get excited about your life.
Here we go, in 10.
Stand by, camera 6. If it's happening now, we're going to deal with it now.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Stand by A, and roll A, check in. Go, Dr. Phil.
Okay, I have a question for all of you out there. How many of you believe in ghosts? Really? How many of you believe that spirits are with you at home, your workplace, maybe one traveling with you in your car? How many of you think there may be a spirit around you now? Well, as you may guess, I am a bit of a skeptic when it comes to the paranormal. But today, we're going to delve into that world of the supernatural with the help of my guest, James Van Praagh. Okay? Now, for those of you who don't know, he is a world-renowned medium and also co-executive producer of the CBS drama Ghost Whisperer. Take a look.
I'm known as a spiritual medium. Dear spirit friends, draw near to me. Spirit friends, speak clear to me. I am an individual who is able to hear, feel, and see those people that left the physical world and now exist in a different dimension. I believe that there are 6 senses, not just 5. I believe that everybody is intuitive. So I'm someone who has a little bit more sensitivity than most people. And Joseph is somewhere too. Is it Joe?
Oh.
Who's that, please?
My father always told me if I wanted to get in touch with him to pray to St. Joseph.
He's found you.
Oh.
Ghosts are always around us. They help us by influencing us with positive thoughts. You can know a ghost is around you if suddenly the electricity in the house acts weird, lights start flashing, if they'll move objects, they make sounds. Many times when you suddenly feel a depression or a headache, it could be because there was a ghost around you. This man wants to apologize to you, okay? There was abuse here, and he's begging for your forgiveness. Understand? Okay. In order for a ghost to really stay here, they need energy. And where do they get that energy from? They get it from humans. The most energy that they can bring through is fear energy. Where do you find fear? Dentist offices, hospitals, jails, planes. And they use that fear energy in order to manifest themselves. I'm the co-executive producer of Ghost Whisperer. The Ghost Whisperer is based upon a woman named Melinda Gordon, who was born with the ability to see earthbound spirits. Hey, here we go, guys. Pictures up. We've had some really, really weird things happen on the set. A lot of problems with lights. One day, Jay Moore was just finishing up a scene, and he left the set, and 2 seconds after he left the set, a lamp came crashing down right on the spot that he was standing. And another time, there was a scene where Jennifer Love Hewitt was leaving the frame, and right behind her was like this aura left on the film. I remember one night I came back from the set, and I was coming into my house, and all of a sudden I heard the jacuzzi going off, and the garage door started going up and down, up and down. I knew that, indeed, there was a ghost in the house, and I realized there's a man there. He went to the set of Ghost Whisperer, and he found me on the set, and he followed me home, knowing that one day I might be able to help him pass over. Working on the Ghost Whisperer is wonderful because it gives me the opportunity to bring this world to millions and millions of people. It opens people up to the possibility that this exists. I believe that everybody has a right to believe they want to believe. I don't think anyone should judge another person because how can I judge you? You haven't had my experiences. This earth world, this is our schoolroom, and we are here to learn many, many lessons. And the school is done, and it's time to go back home to the spirit world. Can you look back at your life and be proud of the life that you led? I think people are questioning it. I think everybody should. I think people are ready. That's why I'm here.
Okay, well, please welcome James Van Praagh. He is the author of a new book called Ghost Among Us. So we're glad that you're here. Now, I consider myself to be very open-minded about just about everything. I confess that I am a skeptic because I was trained in the scientific model. Okay. And so I'm kind of a skeptic about this stuff. What do you say to skeptics?
So am I.
Yeah.
So I grew up as a skeptic. I didn't believe in anything not unless I saw that in front of me. But after a while, I've seen so many things and experiencing things, I can't deny them. So I think everybody should be skeptical to a point of view.
I lost my father like 12 years ago. I would love to be able to have some dialogue about it. You say yes, you know.
Oh, no, it's come true.
Yeah, well, you could also Google that. I mean,
if I had the time, I would, but I didn't. But
okay, so you've had contact from my father?
I meditated this weekend, and I thut of you, and a man came through, and I wasn't sure it was your father or not. Yeah. But I picked up some stuff. Would you like me to tell you what I got?
Yeah, what did he say?
Well, it was a lot of different things, and he came in different ways, and he had big hands. I'm telling you, big hands. And I feel like he wanted to do manual work beforehand. When he started manual work, or got his hands dirty, that way. I feel like he was someone with you, and I kept on getting over and over again, please tell him I'm sorry, that he didn't show you enough emotion like he should have. Yeah. And I feel like you wanted to live up to his way of life. And I just got a sense of, he's around you, and he said he's been coming to you in your dreams, but you haven't paid attention. And I don't know what that means, if that makes sense to you or not. He's also around you, like driving your car, and you first thought of him in the car, and you're driving there, and trying to yell at you in the car. He's like screaming at you and screaming at you in the car, because also you'll be sitting there, and also you have a thought of your dad. And it's like, he's there. But I also want to say he's proud of you for becoming what you became, and he wanted to tell you that. And I don't know, but that two, you're very connected and helping.
And this is the skeptic in me.
Good.
I mean, we know that he's passed.
Yeah.
He's probably got pretty big hands because I'm 6'4" and 240 and have pretty good meat hooks on me. And I'm sure he's proud of me.
He's very proud of you.
I mean, I've done pretty well.
Right. You've done very well.
For myself all my life. I mean, I've been blessed all my life about that. Anything in specific or particular?
I don't think he believed in this sort of thing. Okay? Yeah. I don't think he was really one to believe in this sort of thing. So,
yeah. What's he doing talking to you?
I think that he knows I'm going to be meeting you.
Yeah.
So they'll try whatever they can to get through.
I am a skeptic, but I'm open-minded. Now, not too long ago, James was right here on the Paramount Studios lot, kind of ghost-busting with E.T. and the Insider correspondent, Victoria Recagno. Now, not only did he visit the lot, but he also made his way to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery nearby, which kind of butts up against the Paramount lot. Let's take a look at what's lurking among us here.
Look. Right there. There's a lot of spirit activity around this lot all the time, especially at night. I was brought through the Paramount lot, and I was able to reach Lucille Ball. Lucille Ball was here. That was her office. She spent a lot of time in that place right there.
Did this used to be the office of Lucille Ball?
It was her dressing room space.
Do you ever feel anything here odd or out of the ordinary?
Doors, a tendency to open and close.
I think she comes here a lot. I think when she was like on this lot to visit. When I was there, I picked up Lucille Ball, and she showed me another office, and it was Desi's office. I was seeing a fight with them, with Desi and Lucy. I felt like throwing either bottles against the wall or glasses against the wall. I think the marriage of Lucy and Desi broke up here. And now he spent a lot of time here, didn't go home, spent time here, slept here. He used to eat and drink here a lot. I also will tell you there's affairs that happened here. Blonde woman. Let's go this way. We're standing in a cemetery, so you would expect there to be some spirit activity here. But I still feel there are others pulling me over here somewhere. So there's got to be a mausoleum this way, because I want to go that way. Now we're going to go west of here. We'll find something called the Abbey.
I'm calling Samantha, who's with the Hollywood Forever Cemetery right now. So just wanted to check with you that this building is called the Abbey of the Somme.
We're setting up the lighting. See, the lights are flickering now. This is not any production. This is happening. And the lighting started flickering back and forth, back and forth. And I guess the gaffers don't know what's causing it. It feels very haunted here.
So you felt a lot of activity around there.
It was weird. It was really weird. Even for me, it's weird.
You said that you felt the presence of a ghost here on stage 29 named Maynard?
Maynard. Something like Maynard was the last name. Raymond or Ray Maynard. I was walking back there, and that's what I was just getting. So I didn't know what that means.
Yeah.
Does that mean anything?
Not to me. How do people know how do they recognize when there is a spirit around us? You talk about that in Ghost Among Us.
Sometimes you'll feel a coldness. Sometimes you'll feel stomach problems or digestive problems because many times the ghost is pulling energy from you. Or sometimes electrical things will happen, like lights will flicker, like in my house with the jacuzzi went weird. Strange things like that. Also depression many times, fatigue many times, sleeplessness happens many times. Depending on the type of ghost or spirit it is, draining the body. It depends also on that.
Yeah, and you said sometimes there's a scent, like a perfume.
There's a scent, that's right.
Type smell around as well.
So if someone like, let's smoke cigarettes, for instance, like a father, they might come back and you'll smell like the scent of cigarettes, or a mother with this beautiful perfume. You might smell the exact perfume. Each spirit comes through depending on how they want to come through, and some are more auditory. Some will show you things, and some will make you hear things, depending on how they want to communicate.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to hear from actress Jennifer Love Hewitt and find out what unexplained occurrences she encountered on the set of Ghost Whisperer. We'll be right back.
We definitely have had weird stuff happen on the set. We've had lights explode over people's heads. We've seen light stands scoot themselves into a different place on the set. I definitely do believe that our energy is strong enough as human beings to not just pass away one day and have that end.
I've read from many celebrities, Shirley MacLaine, Goldie Hawn, Ted Danson, Katie Couric, Barbara Walters, Cher. She called me after Sonny died. We had a reading. Sonny finally came in. He said to her, "You were holding the earrings I gave you last night." And she said, "Yes. Last night I was sitting in the closet floor and I was looking at these earrings that Sonny gave me."
We're here with medium James Von Prague, who is talking about ghosts, spirits, and other paranormal experiences. Now, he has just written a new book, Ghost Among Us. Well, our cameras recently caught up with actress Jennifer Love Hewitt, who stars on Ghost Whisperer, which James is co-executive producer of. She stars as Melinda, a woman who was born with a gift of seeing earthbound ghosts and bringing them into the light.
Someone here? Hello? I can help you. It's hard to play Melinda Gordon every day and not start to believe a little bit in the spirit world. Death is not a fun subject. It's not something everybody wants to sit around and talk about. Who are you? I was scared of this subject. I still am nervous about it. It's not something that any of us really want to face, and me sort of being a little bit of a control freak too. That's not something you control. The show made you look at it in a different way. It made it seem achingly hopeful and like something that is inevitable for all of us. And if it was done the Ghost Whisperer way, with Melinda Gordon waiting there to sort of take you through it, somehow maybe wouldn't seem as bad. So that's why I really wanted to be a part of the show. I definitely do believe that our energy is strong enough as human beings to not just pass away one day and have that end. That energy stays behind. The idea of being able to look over the people that you love after you pass away, what better gift is there? I really think that the show sends a beautiful message. James Von Prague is a great man. He and I have had the opportunity to get a unique friendship going. The experiences that he's had as a medium and what he's been able to share with me has been extraordinary. We definitely have had weird stuff happen on the set. We've had lights explode over people's heads, and it would be completely cool to the touch. I don't know how to explain it. We've seen, light stands that they use on sets literally scoot themselves into a different place on the set. I take what I do every week on this show very seriously because I know that it affects people. I can't come here and half-hearted anything because Melinda is speaking to them, and they are listening, and they really believe in what she's saying. I've met so many moms whose kids have passed away in similar storylines to what we've put on the show, and they've felt like they had another moment, you know, with their kid on that Friday night while they were watching it, and that's due to this great character I get to play. That's something that has nothing to do with Hollywood or celebrities or any of the stuff that this business is built on. That's the human condition. That's the heart. I have lots of people who I know are going to pass away one day, and I feel comfort, like hopefully America does every Friday night. And for that, I'm incredibly grateful. I'm really sorry that I can't be with you guys, but I just wanted to send you lots of love. Dr. Phil, big fan. You rock. My mom loves you. And James, I'm just sending you lots of love. Congratulations on your book. Bye.
Okay, now
She loves you.
Oh, she's a doll.
It's a love letter to
Yeah,
you.
oh, she's been on the show before, and she's great. Well, they're telling me on the prompter there that there was a jazz musician named Maynard Ferguson that worked on the lot from 1953 to 1956, and he is deceased.
Well, that could be who it is.
So could be?
Could be him. Matter if it was here. But, you know, they don't have to stay just in one location. For instance, if he was on that lot, he can walk around to all the different lots he wants to in different studios. He doesn't have to stay in one place. People should realize that. They can follow you home, too. They can follow you to different places. They don't stay in one place. Now, one thing else I want to tell you. Cemeteries are not haunted. Why is that? Because they need energy. They need human energy to sustain themselves. You're not going to find any energy in a cemetery. Everyone's dead. There's no bodies there. Yeah. So they need to be around people. So where are the most haunted places? Airplanes, dentist offices, doctors, hospitals, because that fear energy that they can use and siphon off of and sustain themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So somebody could be bleeding me dry as I sit here.
This is true, but I don't see anybody. But if I will, I'll let you know if I do. Don't worry.
Yeah. And if you were to see something around me, would it be something that you would see? Is there like a fuzziness or an aura or a haze
it could
or
be
something?
both. So, for instance, I can see your aura. You know, I can see your aura. It's going on with your aura. And in your aura, the aura is an electromagnetic field around you. Every living thing has that. And depending on your thoughts and your emotions and your physical health, it depends. Those colors will depict that. So, for instance, if you're a very spiritual person, there'll be a lot of indigo, purple around you. If you're humanitarian, a lot of green, which is healing and so forth. And that, you have that. And you have also a lot of red. And you have a lot of yellow. Yellow is very intellect. It's a lot of and mental energy, like thinking.
Good.
Yeah. I said it's around you. I didn't say necessarily using it, but it's around you. No.
Yeah. So, coming up, we're going to meet a woman who claims that the spirit of a dead 10-year-old boy is attached to her. Sounds pretty weird, huh? Well, we got an expert to talk about it. We'll be right back.
There's a little boy spirit attached to me. The spirit's name is Jerry. I heard him speak. Said, hello. I'm not crazy. But I can hear him in this van. He hasn't possessed me. I think he would like to.
Well, today we're talking about ghosts, spirits, psychics, anything paranormal. And we're joined with world-renowned spiritual medium James Van Praagh, who says sometimes people find themselves struggling with supernatural encounters, as in the case of my next guest. Now, Diane wholeheartedly believes a spirit entity is attached to her and slowly ruining her life. Take a look.
Right now, there's a little boy spirit attached to me. The spirit's name is Jerry. I'm not crazy. I contacted a psychic, and she felt that Jerry was a 10-year-old boy who was in a murder-suicide. The mother had killed him. Initially, he was very active. If he passed by me, I could feel his energy. I would see a little bit of air move. It wasn't too long before I heard him speak. Woke up one morning, and this little voice about a yard away said, hello. Now he's opened up a lot more. I hear him daily, night and day. I'm often telling Jerry to go to the light, and his comment is, don't want to go home unless you can come with me. When Jerry gets angry, he will zap me, and it's like an electrical shock. Sometimes it's on my foot, my leg, it could be on my arm, my hand, but you know that he's angry because it's really sharp. When I tell people about my psychic experiences, I think most people are quite skeptical.
The more I got to hear about it, the more worried I was about her and her well-being. I used to go up to her apartment all the time. I never saw anything. I never heard anything. I never felt anything in that house.
In the bathtub, I'll get electric shock that'll come out my foot in the water. The last time that happened, I thought, God, I'm not safe anywhere. He'll zap the phone off. If I talk for longer than what he wants me to be talking, that has happened numerous times. Jerry takes my energy away from me to support his own energy. At night is the worst. When I sleep, I have to pat pillow behind me and in front of me, 2 covers over me, a book on my head, and another cover on top of that. And that is to protect myself from the electrical energy that I feel coming down onto me. If I roll over and I wake up just slightly, if he's not there, I'll hear him coming towards me. He's with me all the time. I'm an RN, and because he was starting to bother me so much there, I couldn't concentrate. I left work. I decided I can't do this anymore. Very faint, but I can hear him in this fan. He's really bad today, and that makes me think he's frightened. The noise is... I started thinking, that's very strange. Is that the start of a light just went out, and I think our little Jerry's acted out. I think he's getting a little bit perturbed and angry. And just as I said that, I have shivers down my legs, right to my foot. He doesn't know what's going on, and he's frightened, and he's letting us know.
Okay, so you are convinced that this child's spirit is attached to you?
Yes.
24/7, even in the shower?
Yes.
We thought it would be a good idea for James to meet up with Diane before the show. We're going to find out what came of that after the break. We're talking about people that are really focused on paranormal and psychic world happenings. Now, we're here with Diane, who insists that a 10-year-old boy spirit named Jerry is attached to her 24/7. She says that, quote, he's tried to possess her and even zaps her hands, arms, and legs when he's angry in an electrical kind of sensation. Now, we arranged for medium James Von Prague to meet up with Diane and her alleged spirit, Jerry. Take a look.
As I go into this reading with James, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm not confident that he's going to help me.
Hi, Diane. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. I know you've had some problems. You believe a child is around you. Okay.
Yes.
Who's the Nancy?
Nancy's my older sister.
Okay. Has Nancy passed on?
Yes.
Okay, because there's a Nancy standing here right behind you. Your mother's also passed over, has she?
Yes.
Because I'm picking her up over here. I also want to tell you that there's a man that comes in here, and I believe it's a father figure. I feel your father here very much. Your father is showing me, he's projecting to me a house on a lake, and he's looking out there, and that for him is a relaxation, a place to go and relax.
Right.
I know that you want to know about this little boy, but I'm not seeing him yet.
Okay.
So when did you start seeing this this child?
It was 2 years ago.
Okay, good. There's a David here, and for some reason he says he's connected with you as far as family-wise. So they show me a ring.
Oh my gosh. Well, my daughter's first husband was David.
I feel a bit of a temper. I feel this man died quickly.
Yes.
Okay? Do you understand that?
They weren't married long.
Was there someone else involved with his death? Do you know?
Yes.
Well, he keeps on talking to me about somebody else in someone else's hands. I'm seeing this very clearly. My guides want me to stop right here because there's more to discuss tomorrow.
Okay, so you didn't see Jerry?
I didn't see Jerry.
Okay,
No.
but you saw her sister Nancy?
I saw Nancy, I saw her parents, and I saw a dog, a Cocker Spaniel. And I saw David, this guy David.
Mm-hmm. You have a cocker?
When I was young, my child
Ex-cocker?
belonged. Yes.
Your father did?
My father did.
Oh, your father did,
My,
okay.
my father.
And the only reason you say Jerry is because somebody told you that. now,
Well,
you
yeah.
think that it may be David, and you
Oh,
have
I
more
know
to
that-
say to her. What do you
yes.
have to say?
Oh, I know
Let me
that- I
let
know
the
that-
expert talk about this.
I picked up this man David very, very strongly with her, and he was very upset. And his head was hurt. I feel like it was a gun or something, or it was shot. Was his head then involved at all?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I feel like it was the head there. And I'm going to tell you something.
What happened to David?
Well, that's it. Let me tell you. Because I picked up on this. I picked up on something to do with fast running, and it was the wrong place at the wrong time. And I also picked up there was glass around here, and I don't know if someone was in a car or near a car, but I'm in a car or near a car when I'm killed. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay, and I want to tell you that he's PO'd about his death,
Yes.
and I feel he's around you, and he wants the attention that he never got. Did he have a tattoo of a rose or something?
Not that I know of.
Would you find out? Because I feel, was he Latin at all? Or was there any?
Yes.
Because I feel like a Latin person here, and a very strong, this guy, very very strong person, and he's a control freak, and he doesn't want anyone taking his life away. He was upset that his life was over. Someone shot him.
Yes, I know that.
Okay.
So somebody shot him?
Someone killed him, and I feel he should have been, he was at the wrong place at the wrong time, this man.
And he was upset about that?
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't you be? Yes. Your life is over without you
I mean,
knowing it.
really, if somebody shoots me, I'm pissed.
You get pissed.
But is it possible that this, I mean, because you didn't label this as, you didn't recognize this as Jerry. I'm talking about this like he's standing here, but is it possible that it's been mislabeled that it is David?
Yes.
She says it's ruining her life. So how does she get rid of this presence?
I'm going to take care of her. I'm going to bring a training program with her, and I'll help her with that.
So there's a possibility of getting this away from you.
There are techniques, there are protection techniques.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what
It's if she wants to, though. She has to want to.
Oh,
also.
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Good. Because it'll ruin your life if you don't pay attention to it and take care of it.
So you can help her with that?
Yeah, I will.
And you will?
Yep.
And would you like his help?
Oh, I don't even know how to tell you my appreciation. I would love his help.
And you don't care what it is as long as it goes away, right?
That's right.
You don't care who it is or what it is as long as it goes away.
That's what I think.
Because it's bothering your
It's
friend.
bothering her so much, and it's getting worse.
And you understand when I'm providing an alternative explanation, I got the feeling that you maybe took that in a negative way of me saying like schizophrenic or whatever.
Oh, yes, no.
But I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, mental illness is just like diabetes or anything else.
No,
it's just something we have sometimes and we have to manage. And I'm not saying you are or aren't because I haven't diagnosed you, but you have to consider all possibilities.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
All right.
No, I don't take
How do
that
you know
way.
she's not schizophrenic?
I'm psychic. Hello. Although some people call me psycho.
If you're so psychic, why were you surprised I asked you that question?
I knew you were going to ask that question.
You didn't seem like you saw it coming. Coming up, a woman who refuses to make any life decisions without consulting at least 3 or 4 psychics beforehand. She even had to call a psychic before she could come to my show. We're going to talk to her when we come back.
My mom is very addicted to psychics.
I call psychics up to 3 to 4 times a day.
Much of what these psychics are telling my mom is These psychics are blowing smoke up my mom's.
We're talking about psychic dramas today, which includes unexplained occurrences from the beyond. Now, James Von Prague is with us. He has written a book called Ghost Among Us. If you are curious about this, if you want to know not just the theory, the ethereal aspects of it, but some real kind of down-to-earth, step-by-step things to try and navigate this terrain in your existence or to determine if you have that kind of existence, this book breaks it down. It's not just some real kind of flaky sort of general explanations. It's very straightforward. Now, my next guest, Mercedes, says she's addicted to psychics for 12 years and has spent up to $4,000 a year seeking their advice. Her son, Glenn, says the psychics are just blowing smoke up his mom's you-know-what and taking her straight to the cleaners. Take a look.
My mom is very addicted to psychics. It's something that she's been doing as long as I've been born.
I am addicted to psychics. I call psychics up to 4 times a day.
My mom spends up to $500 a month in psychics.
I currently have 18 psychics.
Much of what these psychics are telling my mom is These psychics are blowing smoke up my mom's. They're preying on the weak. If you really want to help someone, why are you charging them money?
Every time I have an issue, I have to call a psychic. Any problem with my kids, my job, even coming to the show today.
In December, psychics were telling her that her husband's being unfaithful. It's 15 different psychics. It's like a pack of hyenas. It's a feeding frenzy.
A psychic told me to divorce. We have been separated about a year.
These psychics are making my mom isolate herself. She doesn't have many friends.
This all started with my sister's death. My 20-year-old sister was shot and killed. I wanted to know about the feelings that she had before she passed away.
My mom is convinced that she won't get a job. And she comes to me saying, the psychic told me I'm not going to get a job till February. And that's you get a job when you get a job. You're qualified.
If I don't call a psychic, I feel stressed out. My heart starts pounding. When I speak to this psychic afterwards, I feel peace.
I wish my mother would listen to Dr. Phil as much as she listens to these psychics.
Okay, what are you so curious about? Because I have a really interesting life with like 50 million things going on, and I'm not curious about what's going to happen tomorrow. I'd rather show up and see what happens. But what is it you want to know?
I just want to know, I want to make sure that I'm going to be okay, that I'm going to find a job, that my kids are going to be okay. Basically, I call them for almost anything, any issue that I have, anything that I can think of.
And you're asking somebody that's charging you $8 an hour if you're going to be okay? They're going to be okay. They're getting $8 an hour. You think they're just scamming her, right, Glenn?
I mean, 9 out of 10. I honestly, anybody can start a website, and there's no qualifications.
Yeah, there's no screening for
anything, what she's doing is consulting.
They're just a voice on the phone?
Yes.
It could be anybody. You can't put your life on hold because some person on the other end of a phone said, don't get a job till February. You might get hungry in January. You know, seriously. And so you've got your life on hold.
You're very intuitive. You're very sensitive. So you need to start going with, I think part of it is people are very into this sort of thing, and they look to others because it's a subject matter they really like. But you really have to start working on your inner voice and using that, not look outside of yourself.
Yeah, he says intuitive and sensitive. I say vulnerable. And I think you're getting exploited. And if there's a voice you want to listen to, the guy sitting right next to you there seems to me to have his feet squarely on the ground. His vocabulary could use a little cleaning up, but he's basically very focused. And seriously, you really care what happens, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough competing with so many different voices in our head.
He loves you. He loves you so much, this boy, and he's trying to help you. You got to listen to him. He loves you.
Yeah, you need to swear off this for 30 days, and then I think you're going to look back and go, oh, my God. Because if you had even the last 5 years of $4,000 back, if you had 20 grand in your pocket right now, that would foretell a future. I mean, a financial future. I mean, really, I think you're getting had. You're getting conned. You're getting scammed. We had those people that were pretending to be Robin and I on the phone. They took out a phone listing for the Dr. Phil show, and you called that number. It wasn't here. It was somebody on the phone saying, yes, hi, I'm the director of the Dr. Phil show, and would you like to make an appointment with him? And just, they had them wiring money in to talk to me or Robin. What got me, it was $3.75 an hour to talk to me, $4.25 to talk to her. And when we got involved with the authorities and we busted them, we did a sting and busted them, they were a bunch of fortune tellers, a bunch of psychics. They were running a psychic scam out of Houston. And they sure didn't see that coming. They could tell the future. They didn't see that camera crew showing up at their door, or they wouldn't have been there. So really, you're getting had. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, what James has to say about some of the people in this audience. We'll be right back. We're back with medium James Van Praagh, who is the author of the new book, Ghost Among Us, and it is a down-to-earth kind of navigational guide through this part of your existence. Now, I know you guys in the audience will be happy to hear that he's ready to do some audience readings. So, James, why don't you do what you do?
I can do it here.
All right, great. So, do you want to, is there somebody you see like a major energy around, or do you want somebody to raise their hand, or how does this best work?
Well, I can raise your hand, but there's also a guy here that's down on a motorcycle. He died in a motorcycle accident, and if he wants to get a family around here, is it back over here somewhere?
Okay, yes, ma'am? If you stand up, if you would, so we can...
Is a friend of yours, brother or something, or?
My friend died in a motorcycle.
Okay, you knew this man, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Was there any ties to music at all with him? Do you know if he was in a band or wanted to do music, or you don't know?
All of us girls do music.
Okay, so you do music. Are you in a band? Are you singing together?
My best friend
yes?
that I live with, yeah.
Okay. Did she know him or something?
Yeah.
Or? Okay.
We all were good friends from high school.
Okay, good. Because he wants to say hello there. Okay. And there's a Michael also?
His last name's Michaels.
Okay, Michaels. That's right. Okay. And so there he is, and he's very strong there. There's someone that has his jacket. I'm going to tell you. They understand this. They have his jacket. So I don't know if they own it. They get very emotional here with him. His mom's still alive, is she, please? Because I want you to give this information to his mother, because she has a jacket that she holds on to, and it's in her closet at home, okay?
Leather jacket.
In a leather jacket, but it's in the bedroom. I also want to tell you, he has, it's so funny, because he has all of these, I don't know, posters or weird, like, photographs that he took, like weird photographs. I think he had a camera, and he used to take weird photographs.
Okay.
Okay, you know about that?
No,
ask his mother about his computer and about these weird photographs, kind of bizarre things.
His mom has them?
Yeah, I did them, okay? And that's that. But a lot of love to you from, and the people in your music. He's trying to help you with the music.
His ex-girlfriend is one of my really good friends, and we were all in choir together.
Who plays the keyboards?
She plays piano.
Does. Okay, yeah, because I want the keyboards. Just show me keyboards here. Okay, really strong. I also want to tell you, another friend was thought about suicide or committed suicide. There was a suicide around someone. You know about that?
What?
In this same group up here?
Yeah, there was a suicide.
A busy row.
You know about that, right?
He didn't run around with us, but there was one
but he
guy in
knew.
our class.
This guy knew him.
Yeah.
And he said, he's over here with me, committed suicide. And they have this motorcycle, like, you can sing this. But he's okay now. And ask his mother if she's been feeling him around her. And there's something to do in February. I don't know if it's his anniversary of his death or February of his birthday, but there's a February connection also with him.
Okay.
Okay? God bless. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Anybody want to raise?
just let you do what you do. I'm just watching. We got somebody way over here to the right. Lady, stand up on the end. Yeah. That's you, the one on the end.
What's your name?
Lisa.
Hey, Lisa. Nice to meet you,
Hi,
Lisa.
nice to meet you as well.
Before your dad passes, right before he passes, was there a problem with his breathing, by the way? Do you have that oxygen?
Yeah.
And I want to tell you that I feel either there's life support or there's like oxygen for him to breathe. Okay? He's sitting right next to you. He's talking about reading books. A lot of reading going on here. I'm not sure if the reading is for you or for him, but a lot of different books I'm reading, okay? And also in a place where you live, it's either a den, there's a den or an office, a lot of books and pages of things. Does that make sense to you? And I feel like I'm typing some stuff. Okay? I also want to ask you, do you have a brother?
Yes.
And was your father away in a different state or a different place?
It's difficult for him to get there.
Okay. Your brother didn't see him?
No.
I want you to tell your brother your father's okay with that. He's holding on to that.
Thank you.
You
Thank
understand
you
that?
very much.
He's holding on to that. And he's got to let that one go.
Thank you.
Your father's a fun guy. Great sense of humor. Real good personality. Bigger than life.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, he's still bigger than life, right? There's either manuscripts or something you're writing, or you have pages all over the place, and I see books there, and I'm referencing things, and your father's around looking at this. Who likes the crosswords, by the way?
Me.
Thank you, because he's helping me out with crosswords. Interesting. It's weird. I mean, there's crossword books all around, too.
Wow.
You know, I feel like I'm on a plane doing crosswords. He's helping with his crossword books. If you go home and there's a desk there's a crossword book right there, reference crossword book right there.
I was doing crosswords on the plane all the way to Alabama for the funeral.
Well, he was helping you with words.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right, we'll be right back. As you know, we're talking about the paranormal side of existence today, and you can watch the CBS TV drama Ghost Whisperer every Friday at 8 p.m. Now, James Van Prague's latest book, Ghost Among Us, is in bookstores now. And as I say, if you have a healthy skepticism or even a crack of an open mind, then this is a good place to start, because it really gives you an explanation of how you see this world existing. Now, there is currently a contest to win 5 free readings with James. So go to his website or go to drphil.com for details. Now, we have a great time here in the studio audience, so if you're going to be in the Los Angeles area, we would love to have you here. Tickets are free because we have a good time, right? All right. Go to drphil.com and click on Be in the Audience. You can also call 323-461-PHIL. That's 323-461-7445. So those are good numbers, I hope. All right, thanks for being here. So long. James, thank you.
On an all-new Dr. Phil.
Every single day, Leonard has been harassing my family.
They claim for 6 years.
You're a pedophile. That's all you are.
Do you have proof that he is a child molester?
He's been threatening.
That's why you're stalking us and trying to kill our family?
Never said I was going to kill your family.
You did say you were going to blow him to hamburger meat, right?
No, I told you, back off, or the reptilians from outer space might snatch your daughter.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I'm trying to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I'm not giving up on you. Fame can come as easily as a click of a mouse. Between YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram, you name it, people can quickly build a fan base and become an instant celebrity.
I remember being young, remember everything you said, remember everything you told me, and everything you showed me.
That was Rick, also known as OG Raw Deal, a hip-hop artist who has thousands of followers on YouTube. But 7 years ago, Rick says his YouTube celebrity status took a dark turn when he started getting threatening messages from a man he claims is stalking him online. Well, Rick says Leonard has posted hundreds of videos accusing him of being an online predator. Here are just a few of those clips.
You're a pedophile. That's all you are. That's all this has amounted to, is you being a pedophile, and you've been exposed. I called him out for preying on little kids. Richard OG Rodgill, Rich, however the child predator wants to call himself, is on the internet taking advantage of little children. I'm gonna continue to you up.
Well, Rick says Leonard has threatened to rape his 18-year-old daughter, torture his 14-year-old son, and blow his entire family into hamburger meat. His wife Jennifer says she fears for their safety and is afraid they will have to move again if Leonard finds out their address.
Leonard has been stalking and harassing my family and me online every single day for 6 years. Never met Leonard in person, but he is 100% obsessed with me. I wanna change the world, wanna end the war, wanna. I'm a musician. I post my music online, and Leonard reached out to me and complimented me on a couple of my videos. He started telling me some intimate things about himself. Kind of got weirded out and just didn't reply anymore. He got angry. Leonard said many lies about me. The main one, he said I'm wanted by the FBI for being a child predator, which is 100% false.
Richard is still currently hiding from law enforcement.
He has videos up accusing me of murdering children, threatening to rape him, his children.
Richard is someone who's threatened my little girl with rape.
He's got 49 videos about me. Anything he's saying is 100% lie. Leonard says he's gonna blow my entire family up into hamburger meat. I have 4 kids of my own. That's all I live for. He's constantly emailing my daughter, Facebooking my son. He threatened to rape my daughter while I watch and then shoot me in the face. There'll be times when I drive my daughter home from school and I look in the mirror and I see her just crying. Reach out to my youngest son, he's got a heart condition. His goal for him is to harass him so much that he'll have a heart attack. My other son asking if you think he's really gonna kill us. We haven't had any peace in 6 years.
What are we going to do if he finds out where we live? We're going to have to move again.
I never even believed in evil until this. He's unreal, you will see.
Okay, now Rick, you've never met this person, right?
Not in person, no.
You don't know him? You've never had any encounter with him? You've never been in the same room with him? You don't know him?
No, he's taken me to court 5 times, but being I had a restraining order, I was able to do it over the phone.
Right.
Yeah, I appeared
so
twice.
Why you? Why is
so
he?
I'm here. Let's ask him. I don't understand.
He's threatened your family.
Many times.
We heard the video where
I've only sent in.
He says he's going to spend the rest of his life you up, your daughter, your son, your family. He's going to destroy you.
The way he says it, he's sacrificing himself to do this. So he's told me he's gonna kill me and himself. So that's what I think sacrificing yourself means, and I take it serious. At first he was messing me for a couple years, and I can handle myself. But then he started bringing my children to this, and I'm very upset about that.
Rick claims that Leonard posted a video on YouTube threatening him and his family. So let's take a look.
You're so short. You're such a little. I you up, and I'm gonna continue to you up in front of your wife, who's ashamed and completely embarrassed of you, in front of your kids, in front of your gay daughter, in front of your crippled son. I'm gonna continue to you up until the day you die. I made you stop. That's right. I gave you orders and you followed them whether you liked it or not. And I'm gonna continue to do that to you till the day you die. You're a pedophile. That's all you are. That's all this has amounted to, is you being a pedophile, and you've been exposed.
Please don't believe this. This kills me.
So, what was your reaction when you first saw this kind of message from him?
This one is recent. I've had six years of this.
This has been going on and on and on.
Every day. The day I got the restraining order, he made the same thing.
You've been to the police?
Yes.
And what do they tell you?
They tell me the crime is being committed in Oregon. The Oregon police say the crime is being committed in California, so there's nothing they can do.
These are terroristic threats,
yes.
And they're telling you that there's nothing that can be done about this.
Yep.
This is an excerpt from a comment that Leonard posted on Rick's YouTube channel in September of 2013. Your family is not off limits. This is a declaration of war against Richard and anyone who defends his actions or illnesses. Next up, Rick's son, the genetic defect, whose dad is an alien, profiteering, narcissistic crackpot. Well, Leonard claims that Rick doctored his YouTube video to make it seem like Leonard is saying something he's not. So let's take a look at what you did to the video.
Sure.
I you up, and I'm going to continue to you up. In front of your wife, who's ashamed and completely embarrassed of you. In front of your kids. In front of your gay daughter. In front of your crippled son. I'm gonna continue to you up until the day you die. You got that? You're a pedophile. That's all you are. That's all this is amounted to, is you being a pedophile, and you've been exposed.
Okay, now he says in this video that you altered it and made it seem like he was saying something he wasn't saying. You added some music to it and you put some slates commenting on what he was saying and what you wanted people to attend to. But you didn't alter his words in any way, correct?
I'm not that good, no.
Yeah. But you are engaging him.
Yes.
And that hasn't worked for you, right?
Nothing has worked for me, sir.
Rick claims his alleged cyberstalker Leonard has terrorized him and his family for the past 7 years. Well, we're going to find out what Leonard has to say about that, because he and Rick are getting ready to meet face to face for the first time right here on this stage after the break, because Leonard is here.
The words to describe Leonard in my eyes is psychotic, delusional, and evil. Leonard's goal is to get my address to kill me. I'm a dead man walking. I need to do whatever I can to protect my family.
Rick claims Leonard, a man he has never met in person till today, has been stalking and harassing him online, accusing him of being a child molester and threatening to kill him and his entire family. But Leonard claims he is the real victim, and Rick is a liar and a con artist who has waged an online war which has cost Leonard his family, his job, and his home. Here's Leonard's side of the story.
Richard's playing a lot of mind games, and it does need to stop. He has definitely sexually harassed people online, pretending to be me. In retaliation, I definitely got aggressive online. I believe Richard is a child predator because I found these videos of him calling little girls, even little boys, pretending to be a prophet. Richard was on the internet calling little boys and girls, asking these kids to meet up with him behind closed doors. He targeted me because I called him out. Everything definitely escalated when I made videos on YouTube asking the world for help. He took those videos and remixed them, trying to make it look like I had molested my children. People definitely started saying that I was a child molester and that I needed to take a dirt nap. I got fired from my job because of Richard's tactics. Richard told them that I was cyber-stalking him and his family. Richard says I threatened to rape his daughter, and this is definitely not true. I messaged Richard and told him in a non-serious way that if he didn't leave me alone, reptilians from outer space would snatch his daughter and that we would have our way with her. Richard messaged me and he stated he found my family and this was gonna be fun now. He sent me a picture of my son's bedroom window and it scared me. I don't know what he's capable of. He's made me afraid for my life.
Leonard, how are you, sir?
I'm all right.
Yeah? So, tell me how you feel about being here today.
Long overdue.
What is it you want people to know?
What I want people to know is that I found this man here, Richard, on the internet, calling little boys and girls, pretending to be a prophet. And you can't say anything about that, can you? It's been 6 years.
What does that have to do with you?
You stalked me for calling you out.
You just said I'm a prophet.
I did not say you were a prophet. What I just said was you were calling little boys and little girls pretending to be a prophet. That's what I just said.
And what was my goal for that reason? What was
Why
my
don't
goal?
you tell everybody that?
I'm asking you. You're here. We're here. I'm asking you to explain that. What was my goal with those conversations that you're talking about?
I think you're a child
You
predator.
think.
This is a serious allegation, and you're on national television at this point making that allegation. So, do you have proof that he is a child molester?
A convicted child molester.
No. None whatsoever.
Well, how can you make that allegation if you have no proof?
I believe that Richard is a child predator based on
no proof.
10 years of being on the internet, calling little boys and calling little girls
with no proof. You just said you have no proof.
Pretending to be a prophet.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Well, this is a post that Leonard claims that Rick made on June 4th of 2016. That Leonard, a cyber stalker, he is wanted for threatening to rape a minor. Multiple restraining orders for harassment and death threats. Please be aware and be safe. So you say he's stalking you, and you say this is a post that Rick made about you, correct?
That is correct.
Did you do that?
Yes, sir.
And why did you do that?
I was trying to get a hold of him for I was redoing my stalking order. It had expired in July, and I needed to get his address, so I was just trying to find his address so I can have him served.
You did this to find his address?
Yes.
You said he's hiding from the FBI. Right?
I reported him to the FBI.
You said I'm wanted by the FBI.
I probably did say that.
You filed for 4 temporary restraining orders, correct? Richard sent me a message via Facebook where he stated, someone is going to be in trouble. He spelled going with a gun in it. He has been threatening my family and I with a gun. The contact has made me afraid for my life as well as my son's life. He has stated that he would get me murdered. You made that representation to the court, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so when you make that representation, then they'll grant the order. Okay?
That's correct.
Then they have an evidentiary hearing.
That's right.
And you have to prove that what you said was correct.
That's correct.
And when that hearing is held, then immediately the order was dismissed.
That is correct.
Okay, well, you went back on August 18th. You said,
That's right.
he, Richard, repetitively threatened molestive acts against my 6-year-old son. Then he, Richard, sent me intimidating, scary videos showing my address and my son's room. Okay, so that was on August 18th, the next year. And so, again, they grant that based on the allegation. Then they have a hearing. That was dismissed because
That's right.
you had no proof.
And that's really interesting that would happen. Richard did admit that he took pictures of my child's bedroom window. Isn't that right?
I live in a whole different state, brother.
Then how'd you take? And Richard admitted to the judge how he specifically took those pictures.
Would you like me to explain that?
Please.
This is when I got my restraining order. So I called the police department, and he had been going there so much, bugging them so much. They gave me his address. So I Google mapped his address, put up the picture. He got it from my website and said I took a picture of his son's bedroom. And I was just letting him know you are going to court. And you did go to court, and you lost.
Okay, so you got it off of Google Maps?
Yes, sir. And he said I took that picture of his son's window, and it was a whole apartment complex.
So that was dismissed. The one on April 1st, it too was dismissed.
They weren't able to serve the order.
Because I have a restraining order against this gentleman, and one of the violations is obtaining my address. He's taken me to court 5 times, and that's the loophole. He goes to court, well, they'll help him find my address. They assist him. So that's what he's doing. And it's not to take me to court, it's to find my address.
On April 1st of 2015, you said he, Richard, has threatened to rape and molest my children. He, Richard, has stated on the phone he would try to kill me. He, Richard, sent me pictures showing my face bloodied up. Is that true?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Did you do that?
What part are we talking about? I'm sorry, sir.
Cat's got you by the tongue.
No, I did get him fired. I didn't try to get him fired. But the other two, no, I didn't. I don't.
There it is.
June 3rd, he, Richard's harassing my employer, trying to get me fired. Richard sent me a personal message stating I better not try to take him to court because a gang of people, including him, would come for me. Richard has sent me messages saying I'm going to get my head smashed in.
I would love to see those messages.
What, do you have those messages? Because let's call that bluff. Let's see the
You
messages.
make me look so stupid right now. Just show them I'm good.
I sent them to your producers. I'm actually being 100% honest.
Well, no,
I gave them to your
listen, I
producers.
tell you, the producer you're working with is so buttoned up. You have no idea. She's been working with me forever, and she is so organized. It's annoying. She does not miss anything, and she says you did not send her those messages.
I have those messages directly on my phone, which I was not allowed to bring out here.
Well, will someone bring his phone down? We'll get your phone.
Hey, Doc, can I say something?
Yeah. We'll bring it for you so you can show it. Let's get his phone.
You did the same thing in court. You said you had everything in your phone, and you didn't show one thing. You played one little video of me saying I'm gonna you up, and that was for messing with my daughter.
This last restraining order was dismissed as well, correct?
That's right.
That's 4.
Okay, so you filed
You didn't show up to court.
You didn't serve me.
So then you continue to stalk me.
Okay, show me. We're on Dr. Phil, dude, and you're saying I'm stalking your children. That's none of my business.
You also filed a restraining order, correct?
Correct.
And it was sustained for 3 years,
Yes,
correct?
Sir. Yes, sir.
You intend to re-up that restraining order?
It depends on what happens here.
You filed the restraining order because you thought that you could manipulate me into calling you on the phone so that I would stop showing people videos of you calling little children.
I filed a restraining order against you because you threatened to rape my daughter.
No, that's a lie.
What's a lie?
That I threatened to rape your daughter.
I'm sorry. You threatened to have your way with my daughter.
With reptilians in outer space.
No, sir.
Okay, all right. Look, we're going to take a break. Matt, bring the phone. While we're on break, we have the phone. He says these messages are on the telephone. We'll let him pull those up during the break, and we'll look at them as soon as we come back. We'll be right back. You were pulling up these text messages that you sent to our producer.
That's right. So here's one that you can check out. I sent all this to your producers, sir.
Okay, well, this is a text message that you sent that you got from Richard that says he was going to have a gang of people beat you up.
You said you were going to have a couple of white boys lynch
No,
me.
he's saying a whole different thing.
Which is what?
He's asking you. They're laughing at you, dog, not me. Answer the questions, man. We're here.
If they saw videos of you calling little children pretending to be a prophet, they'd be laughing at you too.
Okay.
All right?
Yes, sir.
Got it?
Can we get to the question, what he's asking you?
There are messages in here where you state you've got people waiting for me in jail.
Okay.
The fact that you say that while you're claiming to be stalked is stupid.
Okay, well, hang on. You said that you had text messages where he said that he was going to have your face smashed in and a gang of people were going to be waiting for you at court and assault you.
Jail.
And that's not what this says. This has nothing to do with that.
You probably
Let's
got
take a
the wrong
look,
one.
sir. Let's take a look.
Same thing in court. Never showed him.
What does that say, Dr. Phil? Let's read it. You posted a video of you on the phone with the cops. You posted saying you're calling cops and drug dealers. You're a snitch.
Can I explain that?
Go explain
No,
it.
well, hold on. I'm happy to discuss this, but this doesn't have anything to do with what you said you sent my producer.
That's one
you
message.
said you sent the producer a text message that said there are people going to be waiting for you at court if you showed up down there.
He was going to have people rape me in jail. Not court. Jail, Dr. Phil.
That's not what we said.
That's if we go and look, if we get on a computer and we look at the messages I sent your producers, I specifically showed them images Richard uploaded to the internet where he showed a male getting stabbed and raped in prison, and you said, wait, they're waiting for you.
Did you send this to the producer?
I sent all this to the producer.
But you didn't send what you said you sent them a few minutes ago.
I mean, that's another message I sent to your producers. I'm blown away at...
Can't wait till one of these white boys hang you from a tree. Fake-ass punk.
That's exactly what he is. Exactly.
I don't pretend to be a prophet calling little children.
Okay, you didn't send this to us.
I did
But
send
this
this
isn't
to
what
you.
we were talking about before, but you did not send this to us.
How do you know?
This woman is so organized, she's like a bad dream. She's so organized. If I send her something and I forget, she puts it in front of me. She doesn't miss anything.
Let's just say it for all purposes that I didn't send you a message where he states, someone's going to bash my head in. You know you said that. But I did show you a message
He
where
may
he
have
said,
said it, but you didn't send it to us.
So let's say, just for all sakes and purposes, that you're right about that.
I am right.
Yes, you are right.
Thank you.
All right?
You're a liar then. You lied, right?
I'm not saying he didn't say it. He may have said it.
Right.
I didn't mean to say
He
that.
may have said it, and he may have sent it to you, but you didn't send it to us. Is all
But
I'm
you've
saying.
completely disregarded this. What is that? What is that?
Okay. Well, I don't know. I'm happy to ask about it. This is Amy Jo. Did you receive these text messages from this gentleman?
I did not, and I wanted to show you, this is everything that we received from both Leonard and Rick, all the evidence that they sent us of text messages, and I did not have that one.
Okay. And
You sent it.
we do our homework here. This is a book. You can see we do our homework here. This is a book of probably 350 pages. You can see all of the tabs and marks and everything that we have in here. We have every court document, every court record. Everything is tabbed. So if I ask her something, she goes, there it is. I ask her, she goes, there it is. I ask her, there it is.
That is
right?
correct.
So, you're absolutely certain you didn't get that?
I did not get that one.
Okay.
No.
Just
Everything we
You did
received
get
is
the
here.
message where he stated he was going to have me raped.
I did not get one where he stated he was going to have you raped. I have the one with I'm gonna have fun with you.
Okay.
I don't think I said that. That's.
With the gun. Yes, I do have
I didn't
that
say
one.
nothing about no gun.
No, there was a gun.
Oh, I spelled the
Gun,
G-U-N in
yeah.
there. So that meant I'm going to murder your family.
What did it mean?
That's how I spell it. That's on the computers. I shorten things
I
up.
found your family. This is going to be
Here
fun
it
now.
is. I'm telling you, we have everything. So we're going to find out what Leonard posted about Rick's wife, Jennifer. We're going to talk to her next. And then I have a question for both of these gentlemen when we come back.
He's cheating on my wife. He's telling everyone my wife has left me because I'm a child molester.
I messaged her. I wanted her to know what he was doing to my family and I, as well as who he was pretending to be on the internet.
Leonard sent my wife a video of him laying in bed, telling her that I'm having multiple affairs.
When you listen to the videos, I knew he had an affair. I could read him like a book, so easy to read.
I did ask her if she was aware that Richard had been stalking me. She did threaten me, and she said that some of her friends would come after me.
Well, I'm talking to Leonard, who says he reached out to a woman he never met, Jennifer, on social media to let her know that her husband was living a double life and stalking him. Leonard says instead of believing him, Jennifer got defensive and threatened to have him, quote, handled. But Jennifer says that is not the case. What really happened, according to her, was Leonard called accusing her husband of having an affair and then got angry and called her a, quote, fat bitch when she asked for proof. Take a look.
Leonard is obsessed with stalking my husband. Leonard is psychotic, ignorant, and heartless. We are the victims here. Leonard contacted me online and told me that Richard was having an affair. I asked Leonard to provide evidence, and he never did. He got mad at me and started calling me a fat bitch.
What are we going to do if he finds out where we live? We're going to have to move again.
No.
I have personally heard Leonard threaten to rape my daughter. He also threatened to kidnap my 12-year-old son. My children fear for their lives. He said he was going to my son in the heart. I take Leonard's threats very seriously. I don't know why this man has such a vendetta against my husband. My husband is not a child predator. My biggest fear is that he will send somebody to my house and kill us.
Jennifer, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
What's your take on this, and what do you want to see happen?
I just want Leonard to leave me and our family alone. You could have called me any name in the book. I don't care. You could harass Rich all the rest of your life. I don't care. But when you brought my children into it, that's when you stepped over the line.
Can you explain explain why you brought my children into it?
You stalked me for a solid year.
So you brought my children into it.
And I told you, back off, leave me alone, leave my kids alone, leave us alone.
I never...
Or the reptilians from outer space might snatch your daughter. And you went and cried rape.
You did say you were going to blow him to hamburger meat, right?
No.
No.
You didn't say that?
No. If I did, he'd have it on video and he'd be showing you.
Check this out.
7 hours. That's all it takes. I don't have remorse. I'll blow everyone into hamburger meat. No remorse. Don't blank with anybody else.
And he snipped that
Did you post that?
No. Just like he snipped that into that newspaper article.
So you didn't say that?
No.
The newspaper article that you keep referring to is right here. I do have it. We do our homework. Here it is. This jury acquits rape suspect of 8 out of 10 charges. The trial of a man charged with raping a 15-year-old girl while threatening her with a firearm ended with acquittal. Leonard was convicted of first-degree criminal mistreatment. Assistant District Attorney said Leonard will be retried on the rape charge. Rapist gets jail term. A jury found Leonard guilty of first-degree rape. Judge sentenced Leonard to 23 months in prison for rape to be served consecutive to a 3-month sentence for mistreatment.
Do not look at her like that and act like that, brother.
Okay.
Do not do that.
What are you going to do?
So,
Are you serious
so this is
right now?
So this is the article that you say you doctored about somebody else. You didn't know it was him.
No,
you thought it was him, but it was somebody else.
The original newspaper article that Richard found on the internet had a date. It had a year, okay? Richard went and photoshopped the date out of the newspaper article and then inserted my mugshot when I got busted for having marijuana. He then posted that online, stalked me viciously online, telling people it was from 2 years ago. This was a cold, calculated method he used to fool the public into thinking I
He was reaching out to me from his job, using his job computer, harassing me and my family, and I called the Human Resources and notified them. They checked Leonard's computers, and they found out that I wasn't the only one that he was harassing. He actually had multiple restraining orders. After that, Leonard was fired, and they actually filed a restraining order against him.
My employer did do an investigation and had found out I was not stalking him using their equipment, but they did choose to fire me because it had just caused too much commotion at work.
Rick claims that Leonard, a man that he has only met online until right now, here today, contacted his children on social media and told them to alert their friends, parents, and school that Rick was a child molester. So Rick says that he retaliated and got Leonard fired for using his work computer as a weapon to stalk and harass his family. But Leonard says that is a lie, and his employer found no evidence that he was cyber stalking Rick or his children. But
they fired him anyway.
What do you want from him?
I can tell you. I want you to leave me alone. I want you to stop stalking me. I want you to stop taking pictures of my children. Stop taking pictures of my home. I want you. Keep going. I want you to stop telling people that you're getting stalked when you're the one who's stalking me because I called you out for being a child predator.
So you want him to take your name out of his vocabulary. You want him to not talk about you, not
I want you to
engage
stop
with
telling
him?
people that I thought about you sexually.
Well, taking your name out of his vocabulary completely would cover all of that, right?
Yeah.
If he and his people are willing to totally disengage and have nothing to do with you ever again, are you willing to do the same thing?
I'm willing to disengage, Dr. Phil, absolutely. But when it comes to the evidence I have of you pretending to be a prophet calling little kids, I'm not going to do it.
No, talk to me. You're not talking to him. I'm asking you.
Yeah, no, I think it's important because if I delete that evidence, Dr. Phil, then Richard's going to turn around and he's going to say, oh, he never did that.
Have you not given all this evidence to the authorities?
I informed the FBI back in 2000.
Okay, then you've done your duty. You have informed the authorities. You're not the internet police here.
No, I'm not.
They are the internet police
That's
here.
right.
You have informed them. You have done your duty, and thank you for doing that. If you feel like something is amiss, you have reported it through proper channels to the proper authority. At this point, I'm asking you, are you willing to stop this internet feud and disengage and leave this alone?
Absolutely.
Okay, now, what I need to tell Richard next. You are willing to do that and never speak of this man again. Don't say anything on the internet. Whatever you have on the internet, take it down. You're never to speak of this man again. Whatever you have on the internet, take it down. Then you two can go on about your lives. Think of all the free time that you're going to have in your mind, in your day, and you can start doing something productive with that. You don't have to forgive each other. You don't have to be friends. You just have to stop. You're willing to quit, turn around, and walk away.
Yes, many times.
And you're willing to quit, turn around, and walk away.
Yes, sir.
Does that mean?
And you're making that commitment here on national television with millions of witnesses.
That's right. And just so you guys do know, I did spend a lot of my time making sure that kids were safe out there. And you can laugh all you want, but I actually did. Because it's not normal for an adult to go and contact kids like that.
Okay, but we're starting this now.
And if I do find you on the internet contacting kids again, Rich, guess what? Guess what?
You're going to keep it up.
I'm going to show the public.
By doing what you just said you're going to not do.
Right.
Okay, that's
asking kids to meet up with you behind closed doors and then trying to hide that evidence.
Okay,
but
now
you
wait a minute.
You have no proof.
Wait a minute.
It's on the internet, buddy.
Wait a minute, stop. Are you telling me you're not going to quit here?
What I'm saying, Dr. Phil, is if he goes back on the internet and starts pretending to be this prophet figure that can read your mind by touching your shoulder.
Oh my God.
So
you
really don't want to stop.
No.
You want to stay engaged here. Because I've asked you if you'll just quit and walk away. If you see something that bothers you, call the authorities.
Well,
that's all you need to do. That's all you need to do.
I've done that.
Okay, because you made a commitment here on national television that you're going to do something, and if you violate that, then it looks really bad for you. I want to thank all of my guests for being here today. Go to drphil.com for tips on what you can do if you feel like you're being harassed online. We will see you next time. Thanks for being here.
هنشيل فوق كل غرزة حشو لحد الغرزة الأخيرة هعمل فيها 2 غرزة حشو. الغرزة الأخيرة هعمل فيها 2 حشو. 1 2 وألف الشغل بتاعي وهشتغل فيه حشو 1 بس فوق كل حشو لحد النهاية. خلصت الدور كله، ارتفع سلسلة وألف الشغل بتاعي وهشتغل في أول حشو 2 حشو في نص الغرزة 1 2 ومن تاني غرزة 1 بس لحد لما أوصل الغرزة الأخيرة هشتغل فيها غرزة حشو. بالشكل ده. بعد كده هرتفع سلسلة وهشتغل فوق كل غرزة حشو 1 حشو لحد نهاية الدور. الدور اللي بعد كده هرتفع سلسلة وهلف الشغل بتاعي ومن تاني غرزة على طول هفضل اشتغل غرزة حشو على طول لحد لما اوصل للغرزة الأخيرة غرزة حشو. هرتفع سلسلة وعامل في الدور كله ده حشو والدور اللي بعدها يتغير الشغل. هرتفع سلسلة واقلب الشغل بتاعي واقلب 1 2. وبعد كده هفضل اشتغل فوق كل غرزة حشو واسيب اخر غرزتين مش هشتغل فيهم. سبت اخر 3 غرز، بعدين هعمل 1 2 سلسلة واسيب 1 2 سلسلة وادخل واعمل 2 حشو في نفس المكان ده اللي يبقى للزرار. بعد كده هرتفع سلسلة واقلب الشغل بتاعي، هعمل 1 حشو واجي بعدها اعمل غرزة حشو والسلسلة اللي احنا عملناهم اشتغل 1 2 وبعد كده هاجي فوق هعمل غرزة 1 حشو